that their food is pretty unique in
Yeah,
some spots. I've seen like the Tijuana
yeah,
baseball team.
yeah.
There's some pretty notable players that have gone down there and played too, which I've
hmm
kind of found interesting.
You know,
I think that's got to be a guarantee for a celebrity game.
yeah,
I think you got to get ejected.
yeah.
I th
Or else you,
I would.
yeah,
I would.
or else you didn't participate.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to go
Yeah,
up to home plate, kick dirt all over it, make them
yeah.
clean it off.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Banter on the Rocks. We'll just start it off with the first order of business, as always, and discuss our brand ambassadorship. We are brand ambassadors for Find the Good brand. Find the Good is focused on the good and building a community of people who want to help find the good. For all purchases, Find the Good gives back 10% to Mental Health America organization. So when you order and use our promo code Banter805, you'll receive 10% off your purchase. So that's 10% for you, 10% back to mental health. Remember to use the code Banter805 for 10% off. And the mission for Find the Good is simple. Find the Good is here to help you get through the bad days, the breakups, the ups and downs, and whatever else stands between you and a smile on your face. Find the Good. Good brand. They got some new gear out. Links in our description and bio. So check them out. But yeah, today's Monday, July 14th. We got Tim, got myself, John Pina here. And on today's show, we have quite a few things we're going to discuss. We'll do our banter takes as we always discuss and share. And then we'll go a little bit into the MLB All-Star week and some of the MLB drafts, some more MLB news that we've been keeping up with, and just much more, whatever comes into our mind. Sports are a little slow, so we've been brainstorming a lot of things, doing a lot of things. If you haven't checked out our first, we call it our first skit that we've done together, remotely, check it out on our Instagram and TikToks. Show that like, show that support. We appreciate it. Um, but yeah, we'll go and get started with the banter drinks of the week. And this week I have a drink I created and I recorded it. So let me show you guys right now. Today I'm going to use my last Taste Salud collaboration with Dioro. Let's see what this one was, the passion fruit one. So first I'm going to put this into my drink. I'll just shake it in there. Let it all come out. Then I'm going to pour some water in. I'll fill it up to about there. Next, I'm going to use some more of the Dos Hombres tequila. If you haven't had it before, good for mixing drinks. So I'm going to pour one shot out of my TNC Hawaii shot glass that I got from, I think this was a trip 3 years ago. So I'm going to pour that in there. And I'm just doing one today. It's been a long day, but don't want to get too messed up. And then we're going to shake. And shake, shake, shake. When I was 7 years old, I always wanted to fly and go into space. So this one day, I decided to take my sister's pink remote control car that, the one you sit on as a kid. And I decided to make it a plane. So I cut up some wood that my dad had around, and I made wings and a tail and the wings that moved up and down. And then the day I was ready to go fly, I took it out. I packed my bags, imagining I was gonna go flying somewhere, visiting a new place. And after 10 feet, I crashed into the bushes. Once I crashed into the bushes, I just left the car there and went inside and decided I'm gonna start gaming more and started playing more video games. All right, and after shaking it for a bit, it's ready and enjoy. So give it a shot if you guys haven't had this. Taste salud and some tequila. Always delicious. Keeps you energized, refreshed. Today I'm going to use my last taste. So that's my drink for today.
Oh, you fucking nailed that.
Taste salud. Always a good drink. If you guys haven't had it,
Oh.
go take a little sip.
Oh man, you nailed that. I love that story. Love that story. And it's always got to be, something your sister has.
It
And
always is.
that's, yeah, yeah. It's
It
what we do
is.
as brothers, right?
It is.
I did the same thing growing up. Oh my God, that's just the best. Great story, great fun fact. It's good to spice it up.
Hmm.
As you're stirring, stirring takes a little bit of time.
It does take a
Pop
little
in
bit
a
of time.
good story.
Yep.
Phenomenal story that made me turn red as a tomato. It was that was hilarious. That was a
Yeah.
genius move, John. I like that.
Yeah.
And great drink, great drink.
It
Good
it is.
sponsor shout
It's
outs.
yeah. It's tasty.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I owe us the audience one. I'm definitely going to do that next week. So sorry. I said that 2 weeks ago and I'm going to do it. I love that. That was phenomenal, John. And then for myself, throw in a little sponsor, 805
Mm,
Cerveza.
yeah.
Having that this evening made with lime. 805, if I travel up and down the 101 freeway, I see your guys' huge Firestone Walker 805 plant
Yes.
over there in Paso Robles. Beautiful establishment.
Hmm.
John and I would love to go there and vlog and
Yeah.
take a tour someday.
Take a tour.
We'll see how the sausage is made. Be great.
Yes.
Um, Good beer though.
It
Phenomenal
is.
beer. I'm a big fan of the Cerveza.
Hmm.
Has that good lime twist to it,
It
but
does.
refreshing beer. That's what I'm
Mm,
going with
yeah.
today, John.
Okay.
Great
No,
story
yeah.
by you.
Yeah,
I
no, it's
really
always
enjoyed
good.
that.
Beer's always good, so it's not a bad thing. So we'll get started with our live
Hmm.
as well, and then we'll go into our banter drinks. And as always, if you
Yeah.
guys on Mondays we go on TikTok live, so if you're on TikTok, log on. We'll start streaming once we go live after our drink of the week. Yeah, so yeah, we'll start with our banter takes, or our banter takes are takes that we send each other. We don't know what these takes are beforehand, and these are takes that we're gonna roll with throughout the year until they get proven right, wrong, and until someone corrects us. But yeah, as always with the banter takes, we're here to cause some great conversation, great banter with you guys, within between ourselves. And as always, some of these takes are a little outrageous, so don't be surprised. So I'll have Tim send me his first, and then I will send him mine after. So, so not stopping with the dire wolf, the company Colossal has announced one more species to add to its growing list. The emo-like moa, a giant flightless bird that stood up to 12 feet, so 3.6 meters tall, tipped the scales at more than 500 pounds. Yes, these companies, everything technology wise, it's starting to grow and it's not going to end. I think we talked about them creating the dire wolf months ago when it first came out, and we were excited. I think we were Game of Thrones fans. I think a lot of Game of Thrones fans also were excited to hear the dire wolf coming out of extinction pretty much. Um, but now, emu, like, Moa, what they're creating, it's crazy, and it's just getting closer and closer to what we discussed that episode as well, and probably a movie that came out a few weeks ago, Jurassic Park, because that's sort of where this is heading. They're starting to play with bigger animals, bigger species that haven't been around, and you know, I could only imagine what this emu like, Moa looks like. I'm looking it up right now just because I'm very
Native
curious.
to New Zealand, John.
New Zealand? Okay.
It was extinct, I believe, about 600 years now.
Okay.
It was hunted, unfortunately, into extinction,
Yeah.
and native of New Zealand. And yeah, it's bringing it back. But 12 feet,
Okay.
500 pounds. Oh my
Yeah.
God,
That's
huge.
big, And when I see it right now, it reminds me of the movie Up, you know.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought
The
of.
the animal. I was gonna say Carl, but Carl's the grandpa, the old gentleman in the
Uh-huh.
movie. What's the bird on Up called?
Ooh, good question.
Let me see.
Was it like a
Kevin.
rare bird?
It's Kevin the
Kevin.
bird. Well, that's the
Good
bird's
bird.
name, Kevin. Yeah. So, um, them creating this, like I say, it's crazy. It's insane because, like I say, they're not stopping. I don't think we thought they were gonna stop with the dire wolf when they created a dire wolf. We knew something was next. Here's the next thing. Um, what's next after this? I I'm gonna throw out my guess. It's gonna be a sea creature. They're gonna put something in the ocean. You know, who
Ooh,
know? Who knows what
that'd be
kind of
pretty sick.
endangered sea creature might take over? But what are your thoughts on this company, Colossus? Creating more extinct animals, Tim.
So I've been geeking out since the very first dire wolf announcement
Yeah,
that we had here on Banter, and I've just been waiting for an update.
yeah.
And I finally got one. I read this article last night, and this was, it's a great take by you.
Hmm.
And uh, update on the dire wolf to start. It's on 2,000 acres. There is three young dire wolves currently. 2,000
Okay.
acres on a preserve, undisclosed location, because we just got to keep them, off
Yeah.
the grid for now. Uh, just in case it takes a turns into Jurassic Park too soon.
Hmm.
Smart move. You
Yeah.
know, leave them out there. Let's see how it goes first. And to add on to this though, they have, of course, future aspirations with all of this, and there some of the things that they want to bring
Hmm.
back, starting with the dodo bird. I
Dodo. Okay.
guess. Then the woolly mammoth, which would be
Okay.
insane.
That
That
would
would be
be,
crazy to see a woolly mammoth.
yeah.
And then following up that, the Tasmanian tiger. Is that the one with horns, if I'm not mistaken?
Hmm.
That's Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Uh, Idiot. Maybe
Let me see.
I gotta look up the Tasmanian tiger. I'm guessing it is just the King Kong size tiger,
It
that roamed
actually,
Earth.
it actually isn't.
Oh,
It's a smaller, looks like the size of a dog. It has its spinal cord looks a little weird and it has some stripes on it. Just like on like it's like that like an ombre of stripes where it starts a
oh,
bit and then it sort of fades away. So,
okay.
but it's an interesting looking animal.
Is it? Does it
Yeah.
look pretty cool? Like we want it back, or do we want to
Um
just saber tooth or nothing?
yeah,
I'm just kidding. We probably don't have access to all that yet, so
no, it'd be
it's kind of harsh.
interesting. Yeah. Are planning the multi-million dollar.
Tasmanian. Oh,
They're
yeah. Check
planning
these
it, it
out.
says. It's getting
That
planned.
looks scary.
It does. Like I
Wow,
said, you
that's
you
kind of
could
creepy.
probably at night you're gonna think it's a dog, and then all of a sudden it just attacks you. Just gonna straight up
Oh
eat you
yeah,
up.
yeah. People are gonna say that's the chupacabra.
Probably. It could
Kind
look
of
like
looks
it.
like it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
From the front
literally.
view.
That's insane. But
Yeah.
again, it just brings up the fascination of Jurassic Park. I feel
Hmm.
like, it just kind of gets us all thinking, like, maybe we're gonna see it. Gonna
Maybe.
happen. How soon will it happen? I'm kind of shocked to hear that we already have three direwolves though. That was
Yeah,
pretty fast.
it was.
Like, and they're little babies right now, but
Hmm.
give them a
They
few
grow.
months,
Hmm. Yeah.
be pretty big.
Yeah, dogs grow
But
really
man,
quick, so I imagine these dire wolves are gonna grow quickly. And then I'm curious if they're able to mate and it just repopulates that way. It'll be interesting to see,
yeah,
but like you
absolutely.
mentioned, seeing where they go to next. They have all these animals lined up, and I'm curious if they pick these specific animals because it's sort of going to help them get to that level of Jurassic. Because I think you have to look at certain types of DNA, certain types of animals, flying, uh, dog type,
Hmm.
woolly mammoth, those are big. So how big can you create them before that they could still survive? Um, and then, like I say, a sea creature, you need to see how they do in the water, in the environment now.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
that'd be crazy. Yeah, I think with water animals, that would just be a little bit tougher because it's like, how big of a tank do you need?
Oh yeah,
Are we, recreating Megalodon? We're just gonna put him in a lake somewhere,
maybe.
and see how, what happens. Maybe that's a way to find out. I'm curious though, John, follow-up question with this.
Yeah.
How, in your opinion, not
Hmm.
scientists, nobody else, but your opinion. How far is too far with recreation of prehistoric animals? Are you just like, no, give me a T-Rex?
Um, I think animals that you could control. So animals that are smaller, animals
Yeah.
that if something goes wrong, you could sort of eliminate them easier. Because if you start thinking, like I say, even though a woolly mammoth would be awesome to see, that's a scary one because if there's something goes wrong, it just loses control and you have no control over it. It's going to take a lot to take it down, and you're going to lose a lot of people wherever it is. So even
Mhm.
though I enjoyed dinosaurs, I love Jurassic Park, even though I'd want to see that happen, I also know it's not the best thing because we've seen it in the movies. Something always happens.
For sure. Yeah, T-Rex gets on a boat, then comes off the boat and just wreaks havoc in Hollywood. You
Yeah.
know?
Imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
That'd be insane.
would be.
That'd be absolutely crazy. But
Uh,
yeah, a big part of me is like, give me a T-Rex. Other part of me is like, nah,
yeah.
let's take
Let,
it easy, and
us keep it a mystery
temper
the way it
expectations.
should be.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors that, the dinosaurs they use in like Jurassic Park, that's not really accurate of what they actually look
Hmm.
like. So it's like, don't don't ruin my childhood. Don't ruin what I think dinosaurs look like with the reality of what they might look like, you know.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it
That'd be
the way
super
it is.
lame. Like, I completely agree. Yeah, let me have, the raptors from,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, the
Yeah.
T-Rex. Can't imagine it any other way. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
lame.
No, yeah, it would be lame. But like I say, I I think as long as they're controllable animals that you can control within 1,000 acres, like they're doing with the dire wolf,
Hmm.
that's fine. But like once it gets to those humongous animals like a woolly mammoth that are the sizes of buildings, that's where I'm like, yeah, it's a little too far, because
Yeah,
we're not the superior species, honestly. I think there's more superior species than humans in the world.
for sure. No, we're starting with the right things.
Hmm.
Let's avoid any type of work on, apes. I just don't want Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
That would be insane. They would take
Yeah,
over.
they would.
Easy. Yeah.
They would.
Just walking past them even, we went to the Oakland Zoo where we're season pass members. We went like a couple months back. And every time we pass by, just the apes, man, the way they stare,
Yeah.
it's like they're talking shit in their head.
They're
They're
planning
just like,
something. They're planning.
look at this fatso. Look at this fatso walking by me, trying to wave at me. Get out of
Yeah.
here. No, they're smart. They're they're
Yeah.
they're scheming, you know?
They're scheming something, So that's why,
Hmm.
like I say, that this is awesome to hear. It's great, the technology, but I think we got to be careful because how about if they start trying to develop monkeys to have a, bigger brain, being able to talk? It goes to that Planet of the Apes, it's a fake story. It's not real, but I've always said it with movies. Movies are a gateway to reality, you know. All the
Hmm.
movies we see could come true. Terminator. We're pretty much there with AI, ChatGPT. We use it a lot, and hey, hopefully it's not within our lifetime or our kids or family's lifetime, but eventually it might take over, and it's just what we
Yep,
created.
that's exactly right. We're getting
Yeah,
there. Scary.
yeah,
Too fast.
no, yeah. It's a little quick, but cool to see. That's a cool animal, the emu. Um, but yeah,
Hmm.
we'll see what's next. It seems like they got a lot planned. Um, but yeah.
Alrighty. Moving right along here. Got my take. FIFA needs to change times of the World Cup. Cup games to accommodate the heat and European fans. We would stay up late or wake up early to watch games for years due to the time difference. If the weather is a concern, move it to December, but be ready for cold or snow. Completely agree, because we had that in Qatar, correct? Or
Hmm.
has that not happened? Qatar, when they
Yeah.
built it, that was the last World Cup, right?
Yeah.
And there, from my understanding, unfortunately, like people even working on the stadiums succumbed to death. It
Yep.
was just so hot. And, you don't really want that to be a factor. You want something kind of neutral. So that
Hmm.
way you truly just get the fullest extent of talent without, any weather concerns. I feel like
Yeah.
that can play a big factor. And, honestly, they're probably going to play a lot better when it's chilly versus scorching hot. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that would be much better. And moving it to a different time of year, like this take says, well, diehard fans will wake up at all hours and make sure that
Yeah.
they're like, they will alter schedules to ensure that happens.
Hmm.
Growing up, like, because it happens in summer, Wimbledon obviously just came to a close. I used to wake up sometimes at
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 4 in the morning to go watch, whether it was Nadal or Federer play because it's like once in a lifetime you're watching them on, in Wimbledon. It's a huge event. It's something worth watching, and then you have that insane amount of talent. It's
Yeah.
it's worth it. Andy Roddick was another one. I'd wake
Hmm.
up early for. I just think that all of them were so enjoyable to watch, and anybody who enjoys tennis like that can enjoy soccer the same way. So,
Yeah.
it's always nice when it's in a good time zone, like here in the States coming up,
Hmm.
and that'll be helpful. But other times altering it for any schedule, people will watch. Everybody's such an avid
Yeah.
fan of soccer, and with it only happening every few years, it'll be worth it. So.
Yeah.
What's your take on that, John? How do you feel about it all?
Yeah. Like I say, I think this take comes up because of the FIFA Club World Cup that just finished right now with some of these players
Hmm.
playing and saying that it was too hot right now in some of these stadiums. That they were
Hmm.
getting dizzy, and I get it, but it's also like that's part of the game. That's sometimes you play in this heat, and yeah, if you guys want to change it, change it to February, March. It's a little cooler in the States. Um, if that's the case, do it. If you did it for Qatar, you could do it for anywhere. So that's not the biggest concern. The one thing that I think sort of irritates me of FIFA right now is them literally considering changing the times because of this heat. They're saying they want the games to be at like 9 a.m. in the States, 7 a.m. But that also accommodates European fans to watch it at prime time, whereas when we were watching the World Cup, we'd be getting up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. to watch
Hmm.
games, and we weren't complaining. So now that it's our turn to have it in that prime time when we're not at work, where we're not supposed to be sleeping, they're trying to switch it up just to accommodate a different group of fans. I'm like, it's not cool. It's not the way it's always been. You're accommodating for other reasons. You could say it's weather, but if it's weather related, just switch it to another month. It's that simple. They've done it before. It's not possible. So it's the one thing of FIFA. I've always felt FIFA's also corrupt. I'll say it here. FIFA may
Hmm.
not like it, but they've always had corruption. We should have had the World Cup. When Qatar had it, they, I'll say it. They paid FIFA off to get that World Cup. So and we got it.
Hey,
I'm glad we have it. We might be able to experience some games, even though I'm hearing ticket prices for that is expensive. So
I
we'll
bet
see. But
it's probably going to be a fortune.
yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, that's the thing for me. It's like I hope they're not switching games to like 9 a.m. Eastern time because like I said, that's 6 a.m. for us and it makes it prime time for Europe, but it's like, come on, we're in the States. Have it at that prime time for those people that are like here. Who wants to travel to the United States and go watch a soccer game at 6 a.m. and get hammered? Nobody does. Everybody wants to sleep, wake up, eat, enjoy, get ready, and go to the game. So I hope FIFA doesn't do it,
Yeah,
but FIFA's their own and their own establishment that they do whatever they want.
for sure. That would be super lame. And I'm sure tailgating in general in the States is a huge deal.
Hmm.
So I'm sure before a World Cup game, like tailgating will be next level. It
Yeah.
would, it would be huge. So that seems like something that they need to work around. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, now you want to do it.
Hmm.
After all these years, all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's here in the States, and now you want to alter the schedule. It'd be
Hmm.
super lame. They need to keep it the same. Give us prime time.
Yeah.
we're even though MLS isn't that great, there's still a
Hmm.
zillion soccer fans here in the
Yeah.
States, you know.
Hmm.
So yeah, they need to get it right. They need to make sure that it's in prime time,
No.
especially because the World Cup occurs like these types of months of the year, correct?
Hmm.
Like all summer long.
Yeah.
So right now is the perfect time. Give it
Yeah.
prime time. There's
Yeah.
what are you going to compete against? MLB All-Star game?
Yeah. No,
Hate to say it,
you're
but it's
getting the
like,
viewers. You're getting the viewership no matter what.
yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and yeah, I don't know. It's like you almost have to contemplate. It's like, okay, let's just say because tailgating's the American way.
Hmm.
You have let's say that a game starts at 8 a.m. Just
Hmm.
bonkers to think about. It's like, do you even sleep or not? It's like,
Yeah.
I'd
It,
rather like sleep a lot the
par
day before, wake up at 3
party
a.m.,
all
go
night.
tailgate from 4 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's just the way to do it. I'd want to get
Yeah.
pumped up and get ready for the
Hmm.
World Cup game. Who cares if it's dark? But yeah, don't do it. Be
Hmm.
so lame. It's
Yeah.
a good topic.
No, yeah, we'll see. Like I said, there's a lot of reports. I've read a report or two saying that they're even considering moving the games from those hot cities to that have like an open stadium to a closed stadium, and it's like, well, then you're taking it away from like New York, these other cities that at the moment, yeah, if you go play it in Kansas City, it's hot over there, so it's like you're taking away that
Hmm.
opportunity for those fans to see it, you know. So it we'll see what comes out of it. It's just crazy to start hearing this and a lot of players complaining about the heat. It's like it, I like I say, I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I don't know what they really go through, but it's part of the game. It's what you get paid millions of dollars because these soccer players get paid millions upon millions.
Right, absolutely. And then if they're trying to grow the sport, especially in
Hmm.
the States, yeah, there's a lot of room for improvement. But again, A, it doesn't happen, every year in the same
Hmm.
location. So you're finally in the States. You want to have that fan base actually go and enjoy and
Yeah.
experience it. And this would kind of take away from that. That would be,
Yeah.
kind of tough to even resell.
Hmm.
It just wouldn't be a vibe. It got to be a good
No.
vibe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, but that's also my only take. I only had one take for you today, Tim.
Okay, gotcha. I have one more quick one we could throw in there.
Okay.
I'll send it your way.
All right. All right. So my next take. In 10 years' time, the MLB will lose one third of its team if they don't start relocation planning or more initiatives to get fans in the seats. Yeah, I agree. Like I say, MLB is always a popular sport, but there's some of these stadiums and some of these areas that aren't getting the fans, and I, it's about relocating, but it's also about selling the teams, because some of these owners aren't selling their teams. Like, let's take a good example was the Oakland A's. They're relocating, and I think them relocating from Oakland, even though I think going to Oakland, there was a lot of memories for a lot of people there. Great times, great series. They made the playoffs, but never really made money. And now moving to Las Vegas, it's gonna be big. It's a place
Hmm.
where there's always tourists. You're always gonna see people there, and people are gonna want to do something a little different every now and then from gambling. So it's a good place. Another place I'm thinking about that sort of has been struggling is Colorado, like the Rockies. Their team hasn't been playing well.
Hmm.
This is a team that has won a World Series before and they have that history, but it could be ownership. It could be just that farm system, the coaching that they have that struggles. And it's also Colorado. It's always high altitude. Not many people like to go, to that high altitude because you can't drink too much. You take one beer, you're pretty much done for the day, and that's not the most funnest tailgating. So, it's finding these stadiums, these teams that aren't doing well, that aren't performing, and figuring out where the fan base is, and it sort of touches into that conversation we had last week with the NBA, you know, may make MLB a little bit more international within North America. Send a few teams to Mexico, telling you, you send a
Hmm.
team to Mexico City, you send a team to, you know, what Cabo. Yeah, I feel like in Cabo you could have a team, but Mexico City is one of the big ones I could think of. A team to Cancun. There's always tourists in Cancun. You're gonna have a lot of fans there. Like, go for it, because I'm telling you, the fan base out there. I've seen. Have you seen videos of those the Mexico leagues? How their fans are, the food there, for the baseball games.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, I know that their food is pretty unique
yeah,
in some spots. I've seen like the Tijuana
yeah,
baseball team.
yeah.
There's some pretty notable players that have gone down there and played too, which I've
Mm-hmm.
kind of found interesting. And that's one way to kind of make it pretty enticing. But yeah, the food seems bomb. Like
Yeah,
I think I saw some guy get some tacos from Tijuana, and oh man, they just look
yeah,
it's next
yeah,
level. Like it's that, or do you want like Carl's Jr. at somewhere here in the
yeah.
States? It's like, eh.
Yeah, if it's Chick-fil-A, I'll be like, okay, well, that's not too bad. But yeah, Carl's,
Yeah, agreed.
stuff like that. So I think, like I say, Mexico would be such a good place to relocate. And like I say, I'm not here saying this because I'm Mexican. I'm not Mexican. I'm Central American, but it's just honest truth. I know the fan base in Mexico, how passionate Mexican and Mexico and even all Hispanic, fans are. Having a team there, that's going to be one of the biggest and most rowdiest stadiums ever. And in baseball, I could only imagine. I've seen the clips of who is it? He plays with the King of JUCO. I was gonna say Walker Bueller, but no. Um,
Oh, pitcher, hold on. Trevor Bauer.
Trevor Bauer. When he
Hmm.
plays there, big pitcher in the MLB when he was in the league before his allegations that occurred that sort of took him out. But when he'd go there, those fans were rowdy towards him, and also the players.
Hmm.
They're passionate about the sport there. So growing it in Mexico, I think would be great. And even, sending a team to Puerto Rico. That's where a lot of these big name players are. You could have a great stadium and that's a great vacation area too. So it attracts people. So MLB needs to start relocating and finding where the money's going to come because of tourists. Because, like I said, tourists make a lot of these sporting events. Um, and yeah, we'll see what happens in 10 years' time. But what do you think, Tim?
Yeah, no, you bring up some great points. I'm happy that you brought up Mexico City again. I feel
Hmm.
like Mexico could be just a great, expansion point for, like you called it last week, NBA.
Hmm.
Same thing with baseball. There's a ton of, history with baseball, in
Hmm.
Latin American cultures, Mexico being one of them.
Hmm.
It's kind of expanding there, I feel like too.
Hmm.
And I feel like that could be, just a really good, kind of outlet for the sport itself. And you have this entire new fan base, especially if it's the only team for the entire country. You're going to
Yeah.
get a great showing, especially if you get notable players over there right
Yeah.
away. They're going to be
Hmm.
really pumped up. And I think that would be a ton of fun. I think like, if you want to catch a bandwagon, just join one of those
Yeah.
franchises real quick because it's going to be a sick name no matter
Hmm.
what. Like no matter what they come up with, uh, I think it's just it's gonna roll off the tongue and be awesome.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great idea. And it's actually something with this topic, John, that I brought up with ChatGPT because I was kind of curious of, what,
Mm.
if it, I kind of put that hypothesis out there
Yeah.
of, you know, say MLB, because currently, let's be honest, it's not doing the best.
Yeah.
And it kind of sparked my curiosity to be like, hey, what if they were to lose a third of their teams, what teams would be first to possibly go?
Okay.
And it listed, gave me five off the bat, and it said most at risk of folding or relocating. Started off with Oakland A's. Clearly, they're already in
Hmm.
Sacramento. Not even,
Can I
just
try to
they're the
guess?
Athletics.
Can I try to
Yeah,
guess?
please, that'd be great. One
Okay.
through five, guess.
One through five. Oakland was going to be one. I think Colorado
Okay.
is there. Is Colorado on
Uh,
the list?
n- I'll give you that one because they're on like an honorable mention list.
Okay,
I'll
they're
give you
they're
that one
honorable.
though.
Okay, so but they're not top five.
Not top
Okay.
five.
I'm trying to think of location. It's actually pretty hard, actually, thinking about it. Oakland. I was
Hmm.
gonna say Miami, but I feel like
Yep,
my
that's
is my
number three.
number three. Okay, and the reason I think Miami is just that stadium's horrible. That's such a bad stadium, and the team
Yeah.
since they won that World Series ages ago when we were kids, I
Hmm.
don't think they've done
Yep.
much. With who was it, Josh Beckett? When Christian Yelich was on the team,
Miguel
he
Cabrera.
Miguel Cabrera, the Yelich years that he was there, he brought, some fame to that team, but since then they haven't been well. So
Yep.
okay. So that's two. Thinking
Ask
Washington
me. Let me know
Nationals.
if you want hints.
Are the Nationals involved?
Nationals not on here.
No.
No, no. I can give you a
Le
hint if you want.
yeah,
Stay in Florida for another one.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one because they literally just sold today.
Oh, did they?
So I'm very curious because the previous owner attempted some relocation tactics. They
Okay.
still haven't built up Tropicana. Clearly, they're not
Yeah.
rushing that because it's kind of a garbage stadium. I haven't
Hmm.
personally been there, but I've only heard. So that kind of sparks interest of, the relocation part of this. So Tampa's on there. It sold for
Yeah.
1.7 billion. Sold for a
Yeah.
lot more than I thought it would actually.
Huh.
So
It's
that's we're up to three now. There's two more.
two more. Yeah, it's saying
Mhm.
team likely to stay in Tampa area, so it might just be a new owners rebuilding the whole stadium, which I
Okay.
think that's also an older one. Um,
From what I've heard, Tampa's a great city, and it's
yeah,
it's very very nice. So make a good backdrop. Bucks got it right. That's an
yeah,
awesome stadium with the pirate ship.
yeah. No, it is. I'm gonna say Chicago White Sox. We don't need two teams in Chicago.
The valid take, but not on there.
No, okay.
Kind
They're
of kind
just
of that Bay Area thing, right? You
yeah,
have two teams here in the Bay. One's leaving.
yeah,
San Francisco obviously has the better stadium, better
yeah.
team. Makes more sense to stay.
Hey, I'm gonna throw this one now, and I'll make this my last guess, just so we're not here forever, and I just name every single team. The Los Angeles Angels. The Angels, I feel like need to move.
Not on there, but another
No,
valid take.
they're
The dual cities.
yeah,
Yep.
dual cities. I think they just need a change to sort of bring that name back up. Mike Trout, just trade him, get assets, rebuild, and move. But all right, what are the other two
Yeah.
teams?
Coming in at number four, probably would surprise you a bit, but they listed Kansas City Royals. They
I
said
I
struggling with attendance. Oh,
I
yeah.
was gonna say that. I was thinking of
Ah,
them, but
okay.
but then I thought like Kansas City Chiefs are out there. They're doing well. I'm like, I don't think they'll move them. But that was one I thought.
Yeah. Well, even Kansas City Chiefs are talking about redoing Arrowhead.
Hmm.
So, Kansas City, what they say is history rich, but could end up being merged with another Midwest team or used as a relocation chip. I think the stadium there is pretty rinky-dink. Don't
Yeah.
know how many people they actually get in the seats.
Hmm.
Talented team.
Yeah.
Got some big names on there, and they have for a while now. They've had some awful teams, but
Yeah.
when they're good, they're great. Like World
Yeah.
Series great. So, and then to round it out was the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
And what they listed with that was great legacy, but market size and TV deal and instability could
Hmm.
hurt long-term viability. A merger with another mid-market team isn't out of the question. And then on the watch list, and they need a major change to survive, would be Detroit Tigers, which I think they are going through that major change
Yeah.
currently.
Hmm.
And next up, Pittsburgh Pirates. Makes sense. They have
Yeah.
some good young talent, but we've discussed, how long is Skeens going
Yeah.
to stick around?
But that's
And
a nice
here's
stadium.
your,
That's a nice
oh,
stadium.
it
I
is.
like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you can hit a splash hit there too.
Hmm.
So it's a great backdrop. That's probably the best thing they have going for them.
Yeah.
And to round it out was Colorado Rockies. The
Hmm.
record's obviously not good. Uh, they do. ChatGPT says it's a beautiful stadium,
It
which
is.
it has nice scenery in center field.
Hmm.
Bad management though.
Hmm.
From the ownership. So that makes sense. Now, just to add on to this really quick though,
Hmm.
it said possible future moves to kind of help with the MLB.
Yeah.
Nashville and Charlotte are expansion relocation frontrunners. Montreal could get a second shot if MLB wants a global presence.
Hmm.
Mexico City is on the radar for MLB's next international leap. And they're saying, teams could shrink down to about 24 teams. And they kind of brought up the fact of, having an NBA style global tournament, you know, for Four Nations type thing, which
Yeah.
I think was great because the baseball classic that they had,
Hmm.
a couple years ago in the finals between Japan and the U.S. It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah.
You have
And
Otani
yeah.
dueling against teammate Mike Trout.
Hmm.
Incredible.
I think it's coming back soon, right? I think there's already some people announcing on
Hmm.
the team. I think Bobby Witt's on it. I think he announced himself. But
He did. Yep.
Team Japan's going to be scary though, especially with Otani pitching again,
Uh,
hitting.
yeah. And then you always have to watch out for Dominican
Yeah,
because
yeah, they come
just
up.
insane talent, insane
Yeah.
talent. But it's
Okay.
going to be fun, and I really enjoy the World Baseball Classic. So,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting topic.
Yeah.
ChatGPT coming through, giving some good little
Yeah.
info.
Yeah, I was thinking Nashville would be a good place. I think we mentioned that for the NBA too, and it's just the
Yeah.
tourism, like how much publicity, how much TV deals you're gonna get, and like I said, for the ones you mentioned, a lot of them were location, not enough TV deals and not enough money there. So Nashville would be a good
Yep.
place. Vegas, Montreal would be very cool to see, bringing the Expos back, bringing that old
I
school.
agree. Yeah. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Canadian
Hmm.
teams. Bring it back.
Yeah.
Montreal, I love their jerseys, everything
Yeah.
back in the day. They had phenomenal talent back in the day on Montreal.
Yeah.
It
They did.
was a crazy good team.
Yeah.
So lots of
Yeah.
big names.
Yeah, bring Hawaii into the mix, you guys. Like I know it's an island. I know the travel might suck, but man, make that like your long weekend.
Oh
Playing
hell yeah,
games. Take a 3-day break after that. Enjoy it for 2 days, and then travel back.
yeah. Now you're talking. I think that would
Yeah,
be absolutely incredible.
yeah,
I keep one of my biggest retirement fantasies I've told Jen I'm like buy a house in Hawaii and just mellow out the whole rest of our
Yeah,
lives.
yeah, that'd be nice.
And if they get a sports franchise out there, oh, cherry on top, man. It'd be
Yeah,
great.
like I said, it seems like University of Hawaii is making a comeback, so I'm excited to see what they do this coming year. New
Yeah.
Jersey's
Rainbow
back,
Warriors.
Rainbow Warriors. Um, yeah, we'll see what they do. But yeah, those were the hot takes. Those are a lot of
Hmm.
great takes. As always with our takes, agree or disagree, let us know in the comments. Let us know your thoughts of our banter takes and any other banter takes you have. But sticking with baseball, we'll go to the MLB All-Star Week this week and Home Run Derby and just a bit more of MLB talk. And big news today, Home Run Derby, and we had Kyle Riley win it, the big dumper winning it. And Tim, you called that, when we talked about it, I think last week or 2 weeks ago.
Hmm. Yeah, he's just absolutely incredible. He nearly set the
Hmm.
record for most first half home runs. He's currently at
Yeah.
38. Bonds' record's at 39. He's just gone insane. I think his last six of his last like seven hits are all
Hmm.
home runs. I think
Yeah.
he's like something like 6 for 40 within that span. It
Yeah.
hasn't been great. His average has kind of dipped a bit, but who cares if you're bringing big daddy hacks to
Yeah.
every single game and doing it in big ways. Like these are no like cheap shot home runs either. These are
Hmm.
bombs.
Yeah.
So and for him to do it from the catcher position, it's a physical position, and he's still going out there performing
Hmm.
in just hitting up a storm is insane.
Yeah.
Great swing. Uh, Not a big surprise in my opinion with him, winning the home run derby. I think
Hmm.
that he is got the most pop out there. There's obviously some other players that were involved,
Hmm.
O'Neal Cruz being one of them. But
Yeah.
O'Neal Cruz, it's he's I feel like can hit the ball extremely hard and fast, but does he have the distance, and
Hmm.
everything to kind of go the length? Because I
Yeah.
think right now he's sitting O'Neal Cruz is like 15 to 18 home runs at the moment.
Hmm.
So Cal Raleigh, it just he has home run written all over him. So
Yeah.
that was great to see. In I don't know. I was almost thinking, John, if you're going to participate in the home run derby, the MLB should just let them sign a waiver and just, hey, 1 month leading up, you're free to take roids the next month and
Maybe.
just go crazy. Because, I saw something today because O'Neal Cruz hit a home run that went 513 feet. And I think
Uh,
that was like around the 10th longest home run derby home run
uh,
ever. And topping that list was Sammy Sosa in
mhm.
Milwaukee when he hit like, 3 home runs over 520 feet.
Yeah.
And it just takes me back to those days of the Royd era. And I just thought it was the best baseball's ever been in my lifetime.
That was,
So bring it back. That was great.
yeah.
But congratulations, Cal Raleigh, wearing the
Yeah.
Mariners hat today to represent.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, awesome for him. I read somewhere that he's on pace to break Aaron Judge's record, could break the home run record. I just looked at right now, just to get a bit more info. It looks like the Tigers sort of hurt him to tie Barry Bonds' home run record, before the All-Star break, by intentionally walking him. So I don't think they wanted to be the
Ooh.
ones on there. So boo from the Detroit Tigers for doing
Hmm.
that, not pitching to the man. Um, but yeah, no, big swing. I think if you ever have to do a home run prop bet, he's one of the guys you're always gonna pick because he
Hmm.
he just has that good swing. So
Yeah. He certainly knows how to use his legs,
hmm.
given, the nickname Big Dumper.
Yeah.
And, he's and what's really remarkable about a lot of this is that he's doing this home field is Seattle. Seattle's a tough place to hit a home
Hmm.
run. It's, weather's a big factor up there in the Pacific Northwest. And, historically it's a tough ballpark
Yeah.
to do that in. So for him to be just absolutely raking and hitting all these home runs so consistently is insane. And I think the next closest on his team is Julio Rodriguez with I think
Hmm.
14 at the moment.
Yeah.
So you go from 38 home runs all the way down to 14. It's pretty telling. What he's doing is incredibly special, and he's setting crazy records. And home runs gets people in seats, so this is
Hmm.
exactly what people want to see. And I would thoroughly enjoy watching him possibly give Barry Bonds a run for his money at 73 in a season. But that number is absolutely absurd. So
Yeah.
I think it would be remarkable if he eclipses what Aaron Judge did a couple
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, well, we'll see. He's on pace for it. It's a team that they're always trying to hit. Seattle's playing decent too. They have some great pitchers as well. So
Hmm.
he has opportunity. So we'll see how this All-Star break affects him, if it does affect him at all. Because that's sometimes where we see some people slow down is after this break. So um we'll
Hmm.
see. But yeah, congrats to the Big Dumper winning the home run derby. I think we were talking about it a little bit. We were sort of surprised it happened today, out of all days, on a
Yeah.
Monday. I think normally I always remember it on a Wednesday, Thursday type thing because it was the big show that a lot of people like to watch. And like you mentioned, there were some games yesterday, so not giving them a break.
Hmm. Yeah, it feels really rushed this
Yeah.
year. And I don't know if that's a sign of MLB is not thoroughly impressed with its product at the moment. And they're
Maybe.
like, yeah, let's get it out of the way. Especially if you have a network like ESPN running cornhole 10 extra
Yeah.
minutes with over your all-star selection show. It is, also telling. But yeah, it feels a little rushed. They did the roster announcements this morning. I tuned in briefly to Pat McAfee's
Hmm.
show, and they were kind of showing off Dave Roberts announcing the NL lineup, and
Hmm.
obviously really stacked lineup. I think it's fun. It's a good weekend. Home Run Derby is definitely a huge highlight, but the format's really weird. You have
Yeah.
Celebrity All-Star Game that was what on Saturday,
Yeah.
and they're not even conversing with any of the players because they're probably all gone.
Hmm.
Maybe a few of them kind of stick around. And then you have players coming in 2 days later. They barely finished playing yesterday, which was
Hmm.
Sunday. Monday, there's already home run derby. All-Star games probably tomorrow already.
Yeah.
And then back with teams, what, Friday? I'm
Yeah. So
guessing?
Tuesday is All-Star Red Carpet Show presented by Deer Park.
Oh,
Um, Actually, the All-Star game's tomorrow.
It is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, feels just really rushed,
Hmm.
which, whatever. It
Yeah.
gives us more back-to-back content, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
A little rushed.
Yeah, it's crazy because, like I say, they only get a day break, so it's sort of just another regular season game for some of these players. While anybody that didn't make it or decides not to make it, they get an extra little bit of a break. So, is it really worth it to go to the All-Star game? Might be the question for some of these players. Like, you're not getting a break.
Yeah.
Friday, you're back with your team playing games, or whereas the rest of your team that didn't make it, they're maybe in Cancun right now enjoying a few mocktails.
Yeah, for sure. And one guy that comes to mind, LeBron would fucking hate this.
Yeah,
He
you would.
he'd be like, "What? Already?" He would probably be participating in the All-Star game.
Oh,
Well, actually check that. At his age,
that was a.
he would show up to it and
I
be
was good.
like, "Eh, just kidding, but we're
Yeah,
not going to give my spot to somebody else."
yeah.
So,
I'll stand
and
out
then
there
he'd
with the
back down.
starting lineup in my street clothes, not even wear the
Yeah, right.
jersey. And it's like, I'm not even gonna play. It don't matter. Just give me my paycheck and give me the attention because that's all he's about. It's the attention.
Yeah. And then put, one more number above, for
Hmm.
all-star selections, make sure it counts.
Yeah,
But I don't know why that was the big deal to him when rings don't even count,
yeah.
according to him. So,
Hey,
it's
All Star selection might mean a lot more to him than the rings.
for sure. Absolutely. I completely
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
So, yeah, I just know he'd hate it. He'd want a
yeah.
month.
Hmm.
I think going this quick back to back, it's
Yeah.
too much. It's too much.
No, for sure. Yeah, and then I think another thing that comes with the All-Star break, like you mentioned, the the celebrity game, which happened this past weekend, and I think the big thing from this year's celebrity game that I saw a lot of was Drewski, and Drewski just being, I think, one of the most entertaining and funniest people at the moment because he's in all the celebrity games and he just brings the fun, the comedy to the games. So. Um, I think it's great for Drewski. He has a lot of great things. His could have been record skits that he has on TikTok where he's interviewing, potential rappers. Hilarious, man. It always cracks me up.
Yeah, it's could have been records, right?
It could have
And
been
everybody
records. Yep.
trying to,
Hmm.
yeah, those are the best. I love
Hmm.
those, kind of like American Idol
Yeah.
style tryouts
Yeah.
to join. And I don't know how he keeps a straight face as often as he does.
No.
Whether he's mocking certain situations or somebody comes in mocking the scenario of performing
Yeah.
in front of him. It's very remarkable that he keeps such a straight face at times. And
Hmm.
yeah, he's just wildly entertaining. He's just kind of become the next big thing. He,
Hmm.
started off, he became pretty popular in what, TikTok, I think is where he, became
TikTok. Hmm.
the big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the running meme with him, John, that I've seen is he's everywhere but home. That guy's just, and I agree because
Yeah.
he's literally doing everything.
Yeah.
He was Justin Bieber, shout out Biebs, certainly back, and he dropped his swag album. Drewski's on featured on three of the
Oh, is
songs
he?
in the album.
I haven't had a chance to hear it yet.
Yeah.
That's
Now,
cool.
I think a lot of it's conversational, but it's
Hmm.
a little different. And to
Yeah.
have your name be featured with
Oh, yeah.
something
Justin
with
Bieber.
Justin Bieber's pretty insane. So props to him.
Yeah, no
So
props.
he's literally just, you know, hand in this pot, hand in this pot. He's doing
Hmm.
absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And, that's the way to do it. His name's out there, but
Hmm.
it's with good intention because he's just wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
He was NBA All-Star game. You have him in the softball game. I think I saw
Hmm.
a clip of somebody filming him from the stands, and he was out in left field, like rolling around in the grass or something like that.
Yeah.
It just,
He's just
what are you doing?
he's just making it fun, which I think it's great. That's some of them take it serious, some of them make it fun. I think what Drewski does it's great. It's sort of that Kevin Hart piece that how Kevin Hart was doing everything quite a few years ago, where he was in all these all-star games. He was everywhere, every movie, every TV show, every interview, every podcast. Like, this is Drewski now.
That's yeah, it's literally him. So, and that's exactly what the MLB needs though. They
Yeah.
need a Drewski to come in and, be a big part of it. I
Hmm.
didn't watch really any of the celebrity game. I think I talked a little bit with Evan this past weekend,
Hmm.
yesterday, and he had mentioned to me that CC Sabathia, I think, hit a big home run. Shout out CC,
Hmm.
and he had mentioned. I think that there was a big I guess like music presence with guys from Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, oh,
I
is Bad
think so.
Bunny there or something? I think he just mentioned like, no, there's just a lot of Puerto Rican artists that showed up, and
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of people involved. I think it's a good way to get your name out there,
Hmm.
and yeah, you know, it's
Yeah.
good. Good to see
No.
the retired players go out there and perform,
Yeah.
play swing a bat.
Yeah. I think the one clip I saw with Drewski and CC was Drewski was getting pitched, but then they sort of switch him for CC, and Drewski gets a little mad that they pulled him out for CC because he Drewski is a all level elite talent, so you can't be pulling Drewski, but when you see CC, you might have to
No.
consider it.
Yeah, yeah, you have a guy like CC. That's probably the one pass that you
Yeah.
do. If you have to take out an ace, you got to replace him with an ace like
Yeah.
CC.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, always a fun thing. I would, I think every time I watched this as a kid, I'd be like, it'd be so fun to participate, but I would not dare do it because I would strike out, and then that would be the most embarrassing thing for me in the world, doing that on live TV. So, I'd be there more as a moral support for whoever coached the team.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, didn't I saw a clip in hockey. I think didn't Bieber? He was a
Hmm.
coach for a team.
Yeah.
This little gig like that would be pretty
Yeah.
sweet. Just be a
That's what I
coach,
would
and then
want
you
to
get
do.
to
Oh.
yeah, and then you could have fun just doing like ridiculous subs and
Yeah.
kind of like Drewski for,
Yeah.
CC going in for Drewski.
Yeah, I'd be like
Perfect.
Dave Roberts, just complaining, complaining to the
Yeah.
umps, probably getting kicked out, thrown out by like the second inning, you know.
I think that's got to be a guarantee for a celebrity game.
Yeah,
I think you got to get ejected.
yeah.
I th
Or else you,
I would. I would.
or else you didn't participate.
Yeah, no, for sure. You got to
Yeah,
go up to home plate, kick dirt all over it, make
yeah,
them clean it off.
yeah,
Yeah, no, you got to do it. Be
yeah.
super entertaining. That's what baseball's all about.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you remember the highlights of Bryan Cranston when he got struck out on a iffy call at the All-Star game. I think it was when it was in LA, like 3 years ago, where he got mad and
Yes.
he was kicking dirt.
Ashes as eye black.
Big moment. Ball inside.
Oh,
Oh, sir. Oh, sir.
Two down, let's go.
I don't, there is no way that that's a strike.
It was inside. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here. As he should.
He went through all the like I think it was all the chew, like all the gum, at the umpire, angry. I thought that was hilarious.
Per
Bryan Cranston has just been kicked out. Oh, here's why he was kicked out. Yeah, you can't throw gum.
Not crazy. Throwing me out.
It's the way you got to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
so
that great move by Bryan Cranston.
yeah.
Can't blame him. BS call too.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that's Drewski, the Celeb All-Star game. That's the All-Star week. And with the All-Star week coming not just for baseball, it's usually for all sports. That means the trade deadline's coming up. So one of the conversations with you, Tim, moves that you want to see or that you're hearing about. Anything in particular?
Anything in particular at the moment? Big name that kind of popped up today, kind of maybe doing part with an interview he had, Eugenio Suarez, third
Hmm.
baseman, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Hmm.
He had an interview today. I think he dropped kind of an answer that seemed like he's interested with joining the Yankees. And,
Hmm.
quite frankly, can't really blame him. Yankees are competitive. You have a guy like Aaron Judge you can team up with.
Hmm.
Third base is a need for them.
Hmm.
DJ LeMahieu just got DFA'd there. So, you kind of pop in. Volpe's not doing real good on the left side of the
Yeah.
infield. So go in there, try to join up. He's a huge bat. He already has,
Hmm.
if not 30 home runs, pretty close to it already.
Yeah.
And you go into Yankee Stadium with the
Hmm.
short, porch in left field. Man, that dude's just he could set a record.
Yeah.
So, he's going to be the perfect teammate for a guy like Judge. So that's an
Mhm.
interesting name out there. I would say let's go Giants and try to make a nab at him, but we already made our Devers
Hmm.
ploy, which was phenomenal. Uh, Ryan O'Hearn's kind of a name out there. Let's see if Detroit adds some more pitching. I think that's curious.
Hmm.
I think that Detroit's in a position where they got to go all in.
Hmm.
This team is phenomenal. They have great pitching. Just add on to it.
Yeah.
Be as competitive as possible. It's their best pass right now. Who else is out there? I do think the Diamondbacks are going to be sellers, though.
Okay.
I kind of have that feeling right now. I think between what the Giants have become,
Hmm.
Padres still competitive, Dodgers obviously best team in
Yeah.
the league. I think now's the time for them to kind of maybe add some pieces,
Hmm.
develop for when, those three juggernauts temper a little bit over the next
Yeah.
few years. Minus my Giants, of course, we're gonna stay competitive. And no, it's fine. But I think that they could be sellers. And another name would be Josh Naylor. I'm kind of curious to see where he'll
Hmm.
go. He's a big bat. I'm probably missing a name, but those are the biggest names that come to mind at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, I'll try to see if another one comes to mind because I've been reading up a lot on it. How about you, John?
Yeah, the two names, one that you mentioned, Ryan O'Hearn. I'm hearing a lot to the Giants. Giants need that first baseman.
Hmm.
I think that would be a
Yeah, we do.
perfect place, and he has that bat. That's something that would help you guys. Because yeah, Devers has helped a lot, but I think you guys still need a little bit more help with more consistent hitting. So I think that's one. And then another one, I sort of put this on a video a few weeks ago. Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins going to the Dodgers. I
Mm.
think that's who we just need to get that pitching support. Because like I say, it seems like Snell, there's a few guys coming up, getting ready to come back, to pitch for us, which is great. Um, but knowing our history, we've always struggled with injuries, so let's get some support in. And Marlins, I think, are a team that are going to be selling, so I think that's a good piece for us Dodgers. Because then the other name I would say I want to see move, Paul Skeens. That's why I'm wearing the Pittsburgh hat, because I'm imagining him coming to this city, to this town,
Ooh,
in this state, Southern California, not Northern California. Uh,
damn it.
but like you mentioned, Detroit. They have the pieces to pick up another pitcher. They're able to trade some key players, and imagine Skeens and Scuball. That's a duo you just never want to see.
Yeah, no, that'd be insane. And that would be, that big piece
Hmm.
with Detroit to really make a run at the season.
Yeah.
That 1-2 punch, which, I saw a crazy stat, speaking of both of those players, they have nearly identical ERAs. And I think in their last eight starts, I want to say Screwball's like 8-0
Hmm.
and Paul Skeens is like under 500 with
Yeah.
the same ERA,
Yeah.
which is below two. It's like a
Yeah.
phenomenal ERA. It's like 1.8.
Hmm.
And it just goes to show, Skeens is miserable with no,
Hmm. No
run
support.
support, which is
Hmm.
a bummer. Yeah. So I, I don't know how he feels. Money talks for a lot of
Hmm.
folks,
Yeah.
but also winning talks.
Hmm.
So, eventually is he going to get too tired of it, regardless of what the paycheck looks like,
Hmm.
and does he want to go compete somewhere else? It's going to be a big deal. So, Skeens is interesting. Another name popped into mind was Louis Robert
Hmm.
with the White Sox.
The White
White
Sox, yeah.
Sox, not a good team. Be sell Louis Robert, not having a good season. So I don't know if they'll trade him because the return might not be that good.
Hmm.
Giants, I would love for them to be interested in him, to be honest with you. I think
Hmm.
when he is playing well, the dude's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's fast. He has good power. I think he can be very good.
Hmm.
And he's built like an absolute unit. So
Yeah.
it's like you get a good bat for the outfield, which is what the Giants need.
Hmm.
I think that would be a good start. And then, sorry, to go back with Arizona for a quick moment, I think that they will be sellers as far as pitching goes as well. Zach Gallen's another big
Hmm.
name out there.
Zach
Maybe the
Gallen.
Dodgers, I don't, interdivisional be kind
Yeah.
of a rough
I,
trade. I don't know if they
yeah.
would do it, but Zach Gallen's a name to put out there. Maybe
Hmm.
with the Yankees. I think he's from New Jersey. And then you have Merrill Kelly is another
Hmm.
name with Arizona that could be on the move. The Cubs might be buyers on either one
Yeah.
to add, to their starting pitching lineup as
Hmm.
well. So
Yeah.
Cubbies are looking great as well. It's a
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
team worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of teams that are going to be looking because it's very close, I think, in a lot of these divisions. It's not there's a few teams that are running away with it. Like I said, I think the Padres are going to be looking for a lot of pieces. I'm hearing Duran from the Red Sox for them, is a possibility. That's the place he's been pointed to a lot because I think the Red Sox are also sort of in a place they have to sort of sell. Um,
Time out
but
there really quick, John. I was
yeah,
actually going to ask you that. I
yeah.
think the Red Sox at the moment, I want to say it's 8 games. They're on an 8 game winning streak. Does this
Mhm.
change everything for them?
It could. I think it just depends on what happens, but they have so many pieces that I think Duran isn't in the future. I think he's
Okay.
still just an asset that you could pick up a lot of those holes that they're struggling with. But yeah, no, they're on a good win streak. They're tied with the Yankees, but like I said, Duran is that one key player that I don't think he was in the long-term picture for the Red Sox. I think for
Hmm.
that type of player, you could get a good return for him, and even a current return of some players that could help your team. Because like I said, I think the Padres might be looking at a player like that. Even the Dodgers for and who knows, maybe the Giants. Devers and Duran back together. Those are the type of
Yeah.
bats that are needed, and you know
Yep.
but the Red Sox sort of building that future. But we'll see if they keep it up. I'm happy for the wife and the family that they're doing well. But they aren't going to beat the Dodgers, so I'm going to let them enjoy it. Looking at the standings, yeah, Chicago's up there. Milwaukee too. They could use a lot of support pitching as
Yeah.
well. They're
They
up
just got
there.
Woodruff back,
Hmm.
who's a great pitcher, came off the IL. I feel like I haven't heard his name since 2022.
Yeah,
He's a phenomenal pitcher, but he's just battling injuries, unfortunately. So
yeah.
he's a big name for them to get back.
Yeah. Toronto too, like that's a team that's making the big leap. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of teams that are going to be buyers and a lot of teams that are going to be sellers. Like I said, Baltimore, I think might sell quite a bit. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Starting with O'Hearn. Maybe Santander could be another
Hmm.
one on the move. Outfielder.
Yeah.
He's a big bat as well. Uh, Toronto, real quick. Bo
Hmm.
Bichette is
Yeah.
another name that's rumored to be on the move as well.
Yeah.
Uh, your Dodgers, I don't know. Hate to say
Yeah.
it, but another bat to add. He's good.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot. Like I say, I'm looking at the records. A lot of these teams are still within striking distance, so it's like they're gonna have to play it smart of buying and selling or just buying. Because not everybody could be
For
buyers. You
sure.
got to have some sellers.
I'm curious, John.
Hmm.
And this is the biggest name possibility, in my opinion. Mike Trout.
Hmm.
People are kind of really considering him as a possibility of being a trade. So far this year, he's battled injury.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it's been kind of routine for him the last several years. And, he still has pop. I think he hit a home
Yeah.
run
Hmm.
in the last game. He's average needs to pick up a bit. Speed's kind of not there anymore. But I feel like he's just a player that deserves to go to a competitive team. And I'm just curious if anybody would try to buy in on him. One team really comes to mind, and it's the Phillies. I don't know why. I
Okay.
think he's from, South Jersey, if I'm not
Hmm.
mistaken. I think he grew up all things Philly,
Hmm.
Eagles. I know he's a big Eagles fan. And then for him to go there, team up with a guy, like Schwarber,
Hmm.
Castellanos, Harper,
Harper.
I feel like it would just make a Turner. It would make a
Hmm.
ton of sense.
Yeah.
They have good pitching. And I think Philly, if they add Trout, that's a beast. That's a really good team. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mets, step
Yeah.
aside. I think Trout could be that piece. If I were a Phillies fan, I would try to,
hmm
go all over socials and be like, get Trout, get Trout, get Trout.
Yeah. I think I sort of mentioned it when we were talking about the teams that are going to move, the teams that need to move, Angels are one of them, and I think they do need to just trade Trout. Get what you can for him because I think there's still a lot of teams that will pay a lot in return because they know the talent Trout still is. Yes, injuries have hurt him. Has struggled because of that the last few years, but he's still Mike Trout. If you get
Yep.
him on a good team in a good environment, good rehab coming back, this guy could be a big piece in the playoffs because he has that bat power. I feel like he might go to the Yankees because that's the type of player on the Yankees that they need.
Hmm.
Imagine him and Judge. That's just
Oh.
scary. And then also the Mets, because like you say, he's a Jersey kid, close to home.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the Angels have to be sellers. I think they have to just gut that team and rebuild from the ground up, get these draft prospects. Look who has the prospects. Dodgers, we have a lot of prospects, so I don't mind giving some up, reuniting him with Shohei. Hey, that could bring up a lot of good memories of a lot of history they did.
That'd be crazy. Go up the 5 freeway right there. Be a
Yeah.
Dodger, follow
Yeah.
in Shohei's footsteps.
Yeah.
You guys need outfield. Makes
hmm
sense. Giants need outfield.
Makes
Let's
sense
come
too.
up here. I don't know. It
Yeah.
could make sense, but
hmm
now's a good time,
Yeah.
and kind of speaking of which, John, yeah, we kind of talked about this, and I just kind of quickly wanted to dive
Mhm.
into it. That Angels pick was
Oh yeah.
people were giving him a ton of crap,
Yeah.
and I don't want to dump on this kiddo's parade
No,
because
yeah.
he's UCSB's local kid. I
hmm
think that's incredible. He's picked second overall. I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
UCSB getting on the board.
hmm
From my understanding, great changeup, arguably the best changeup in all of college sports this past season or on the draft board. And he has like a mid 90s
hmm
fastball with movement. His highlights look pretty good,
Yeah.
but I think when it came down to it, I think them passing over the LSU pitcher, much like the Washington
Mhm.
Nationals did,
Yeah.
it
Kate
it
Anderson.
drew a lot of. Yep, Kate Anderson.
hmm
And I think that drew a ton of questions because there's even behind those names, there's a ton of talent. You have Ethan Holiday, who ended up going
Yeah.
to the Rockies, which was a great pick
That's
for them.
awesome.
You have
Yeah.
the two kids out of Corona High School, which are phenomenal, the shortstop, and then you have
hmm
the pitcher Seth Hernandez, who in high school I think he's throwing upper 90s, which is absurd.
Yeah.
And those two in and of itself are great. But you go for supposedly that I think analysts had him 18th overall,
Yeah.
and Angels on their socials
Yeah.
they said they got their guy.
Yeah.
Good for them, I suppose. But fans, I don't think feel that way. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think fans feel that way. Like I say, it's they see something in this kid that they probably think is a top two pick. So Angel fans have to hope, but when you pass up a guy like Cade Anderson from LSU, it's a mistake. Cade Anderson's elite, gonna most likely could come into the league and be a dominant pitcher for many years where, their pick I think could be a dominant pitcher too. He has the skill sets, but it's, you're taking him over some of these other players and how does Mike Trout feel about that? Not getting a surefire pitcher and a pitcher that most likely has a lot of prospect and could be a elite star, but per the rankings that all MLB draft experts had him 18th, it's like that's a big reach. So fans
Mhm.
aren't happy. We'll see what happens, but like I say, with that trade, it makes sense why we sort of forgot that Shohei was in the home run derby quite a few years ago because the Angels haven't been doing much for so many years. One of
Yeah.
our commenters, corrected us on that Shohei was in the home run derby, but that felt like ages ago. I honestly don't remember that. I don't remember his time in the Angels
Yeah.
since he's been on the Dodgers. So
Yeah. I mean, you go to the Dodgers your first year, you have a 50-50 season, first
Mhm.
ever, and then you win a World Series on top of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're going to forget about that 2021 home run derby.
Yeah.
Hey, hand up. Stupid question, idiot.
Yeah.
But, I wasn't thinking about the 2021 All-Star game in
Yeah.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I want
it's
to see
crazy.
Dodgers version of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to
Feels
see
different.
what he's doing now. He's a lot better player. He's doing a lot more things than when he was on the Angels in already 2 years. So, uh, that's
Mhm.
why we forgot it, but that's why I also think Angels have to be sellers. I think that's why Angels, I mentioned them as a team that needs to sort of relocate, and they just need that fresh start. You know, Angels, I think, already have a good Hispanic fan base because of where they're located, Anaheim, Los Angeles, vicinity. That's a good team for Mexico, Mexico City Angels. Imagine that.
Hey, I like it. Would you go with the Angels?
Angeles.
The
Yeah,
Angels?
the
Angeles?
Mexico City
Yes.
Angels. Yeah, yeah.
That'd be
Like I said,
badass.
it would be good. So, but we'll see. But yeah, that draft pick, they think they got their player. Let's hope they did, but I don't think they did. Oh, one player that I saw got picked up, Mitch Voigt. You know that name, Tim?
Mitch Voigt, Stephen Voigt?
No, Mitch Voigt. So
Oh,
Michigan
okay.
player. I don't know if you saw his video a while back ago.
I don't
Third
think so.
base,
Maybe I did.
where he slid and sort of did some illegal paraphernalia off of the base.
Oh, yeah, that was iconic. That was,
The,
hey, 10 out of 10 celebration. It was really good.
yes,
And then he still
that
gets drafted. Props to him.
yeah,
All worth it.
he got
All
drafted
worth
by
it.
the Mets. People are saying the Mets got to call this guy up immediately. With a celebration like that,
Yeah.
you got to make him just already an MLB player. Just take him to the playoffs. He'll
Yeah,
scare
and
those
then to
teams.
go the Big Apple media, it's
Yeah.
exactly where he belongs.
Yeah.
Uh, rumor has it, big time vibes guy.
Yeah.
That's what they
Well,
need
most
in the
likely
Mets.
with that kind of
Yeah,
celebration. Yeah.
that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good name to throw out there.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Super good.
kudos to that kiddo. But yeah. And then one of the last things with baseball I wanted to talk to you, Tim, about. I sent you a video this week of Jorge Posada's daughter posting, a TikTok, and she asked her dad, "How do you feel not being an athletic, athlete? What do you wish you were an athletic
Mhm.
athlete?" And I thought it was hilarious just because he's a catcher, and I think in baseball there's some positions that people probably feel that aren't you don't have to be athletic to to play. So I was gonna
Mhm.
ask you, Tim, being more of the baseball guru, what are your thoughts? What would you say is the most unathletic position in baseball?
So yeah, most unathletic position in baseball, I'd have to say, would be a relief pitcher. Not necessarily a closer, but like a
Mhm,
middle relief, where you could throw every day,
mhm,
but it's no guarantee. You could have games where you're just kind of chilling in the bullpen,
mhm,
sitting back, you know, taking it easy. You don't have to have I guess in modern baseball, the way it's been the last several years is, middle relief pitchers can go 4 or 5 innings if
mhm.
necessary, but typically, they're going to throw 1 or 2 innings. They could throw as little as one out
Yeah.
and call it a day. And there's not a whole lot to it. You're going in there. You can be chubby and be a pitcher. Like it's
Hmm.
no big deal. Like we go back. We could look at Wells threw a perfect game with the Yankees way back
Yeah.
when, and he did it absolutely
Hmm.
hammered. He was hung over as shit from, which makes that story and David Wells makes it absolutely incredible,
Yeah.
that he goes and throws a perfect game and being as hungover as he was.
Popped up right field near the line. O'Neill appears to have room. He puts it away, and David Wells has pitched a perfect game.
And they were literally telling him to go hide from Joe Torre before that game. You know, he wasn't in phenomenal shape. CC Sabathia, he's in great shape now.
Yeah, I was about
But
to
his
say.
playing days, he was a big guy.
Hmm.
And, you know, that's another prime example. Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, that guy is always.
Loved watching Bartolo
Yeah.
Colon play, though. He was so much fun to watch. And, you know, just another great example. So clearly pitching, you know, could be middle relief, could be starting
Hmm.
pitching. There's your expectations, you know, regardless, you're gonna have some days off.
Hmm.
You're not required to be vigorous. You know, on the other end of things, catching is probably one of the most athletic positions in my opinion. You know, it's you're in every play.
Yeah.
You know, it's wear and tear.
Hmm.
I personally played catcher in high school, and you know, just even the drills that we did in practice. We used to have our coach stand on third base, hit balls off the fungo as hard as he could from third base to home plate, and
Hmm.
he told us that not even use a mitt one day. And you know, just body up to everything. I
Yeah.
would come home with, you know, bruises all over
Oh
my
man.
arms, so I'd be like, you know what, that's success right
Yeah.
there. And you know, again, physical position, you're in full gear. It could be hot as hell, and you're still expected to be
Hmm.
back there behind the plate. You know, obviously there's big framed catchers that happens, but you know, athletic wise, that outfield, infield, it could be really anywhere. First base could be a little bit lazier, in my opinion,
Yeah.
but most of all, pitching.
Pitching. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Most
that that
unathletic.
yeah, that's the one I was thinking about because like Cologne, CC Sabathia, they were always big pitchers. You always see the pitchers a little bigger, heavier sets,
Yep.
and still could do the job. But I feel like you still have to be a little athletic to throw that fast and be that accurate, you know,
Hmm.
because you just don't want to throw everywhere and hit people a bunch of balls. The other position I was thinking about, and this is just based off like observation, is first base. I feel like was always where I would see the chubbiest
Hmm.
players, you know, the bigger, heavy set guys that had to move a bit, but didn't have to move as much as like, you know, second, short, third, you know. So I was always like, okay, first base might be one of those. And then DH, you know, Big Poppy,
Yeah.
big fan of Big Poppy. Guy was big, but that all he went there is just to hit dingers. You know, I think if you asked him to play in the
Mhm.
field, he might have been struggling towards like that later half of his career.
For sure. Yeah. And then if you think about it, what's Big Poppy's second, you know, position? It was first base.
Yeah.
So, you know, you stick him at first. You know,
Yeah.
it's National League ballpark back when he was playing. There was
Hmm.
no DH, so you
Hmm.
play first base.
Yeah.
Miguel Cabrera late in his career played
That
first
one
base. He
too.
got really
Hmm.
chunky over the years.
Pujols.
You think about Pujols is you know, a big guy. Prince Fielder is another
Oh
one.
yeah,
He was
Prince
always
Fielder.
just massive,
Yeah.
but could just his power was immense.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. First base, you know, that's why I mentioned it. You know,
Hmm.
you have some chunky players over there.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times they're big bats, and you know they could, pick ground balls well,
Hmm.
you know, and just cover the base well. Big frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, first base is another
Mm.
one, but you know, everywhere
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
athletic.
I was gonna say if you didn't mention that you were a catcher, I was gonna be like, I don't know, Tim. I think you have a little bit of favoritism towards that catching position playing it in high school.
Yeah, no, I'll always vouch for those catchers
Yeah.
because you know it's a ton of endurance.
Hmm.
Um, you know, to this day, actually, fun fact here, I have a fractured left knee. I have a bone chunk in my tendon on
Oh,
my left knee from all my years of catching, just because
yeah.
they said bending down consistently,
Hmm.
catching long innings, stuff like that. It had so much wear on my kneecap
Hmm.
that it my tendon pulled a piece of my kneecap
Oh man,
off, and
that's
and
crazy.
I was like, oh, should we take it out? And then the guy's like, does it hurt you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, leave it. That was an
Yeah,
orthopedic surgeon in the area,
that's
and
hilarious.
he. So to this day, I'm like, yeah, I'll leave it. It's not
Hmm.
bothering me. Whatever. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny. So yeah,
But yeah, no, I'll always vouch for catchers, man.
yeah, no,
They're great.
no, yeah, yeah, and Jorge Posada, like I say, elite player, he played so many years, and like you mentioned, I think that's what the hardest that's a hard position because of all the bending, your knees, you feel it throwing,
Hmm.
from a lower position, you know, with less power, because you're throwing from your knees. without that leg power. So it's, Jorge Posada's daughter, I think, was just making a joke, but I sighed, cracked up because he was just going with it. But deep down inside, he knows he's one of the most elite athletes in the game.
Oh yeah. No, like I said, Jorge Posada, one of my favorite catchers of all time because he could
Yeah.
hit, but it was just that, he played for those most annoying Yankee teams that were so
Yeah.
talented and they were just always good.
Yeah.
And Posada was like the cherry on top for them. He was
Mhm.
a great catcher.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but yeah, that's all about baseball. We'll go into our little, bit of movies, TV show, topic. And one of the big things I just saw today and just sort of wanted to get your opinion, Tim. Harry Potter TV show has started filming. They showed a picture of the new Harry Potter. At first, everybody was sort of like, "Oh, he doesn't look like Harry." Like they had a little bit of stuff to say. But now looking at, his first picture in the costume, the Hogwarts, outfit, kid looks legit. Looks like Harry Potter. It looks like a mini Daniel Radcliffe, so I'm excited about it, but there's still a lot of controversy, Sirius Snape. There's some people questioning, the actor that they picked just because it isn't like the book. Hermione isn't, Caucasian the way she was in the movies. So, and a lot of people always take that really offensive. So for you, I don't know if you're a big Harry Potter fan, but for this new TV show, that comes out eventually on HBO Max, how many shows do you need to sort of see for it to get you hooked or for you to pass on it?
Probably two. Probably
Mm-hmm.
two. Because, premieres of a show could be kind of hit or miss,
Mm-hmm.
then second, they could kind of hit their stride. Or it could be, a big hit first episode.
Yeah.
Second episode's kind of like, eh.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of unleashed everything episode one. But overall, I think it would be a great series. I think it's a great idea. I just looked up photos of the kiddo playing Harry Potter. He
Mm-hmm.
does exactly look like young Danny Radcliffe.
Yeah. It does.
It was a great choice. He
Yeah.
blends well for that role. And looks like it's going to be set for HBO, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And set for 2027.
Mm-hmm.
God, that feels far away, but I guess realistically, it's only about a year and a half
A
now.
year and a half, yeah.
So, yeah, no, I honestly, to answer your question though, two episodes I think is
Mm-hmm.
doable. And, I do thoroughly enjoy Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I watched mainly the first three and then kind of tailed away because I think it took a little bit too much time for it to come out, and I just,
Yeah.
didn't really focus on it.
Yeah.
But I just enjoy, all that, you know,
Yeah.
good stuff with Harry Potter. I think it's fun.
No, for sure. I'm about the same. I need about 2 to 3 episodes. I want to see how they go off of the books and how long, if one season's like one book or they mix two books into it. Because like I
Mm,
say, it's if you're doing one movie in one season, it's like you need a lot more story. So the story has to hook me for me to be interested. Because it's just the way I like to watch TV shows. So I'll give it 2 to 3. If I don't like it, I may pass or just watch it later slowly or just cruise through it, forward it to some interesting spots.
sure. What's your interest level? 1 to 10.
Um, because it's Harry Potter, I'm at like a 8.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the movies. I always like watching it. I rewatch it, I think, a lot during holiday time just because I feel like it's a Christmas type of movie. So I rewatch all the
Yeah.
movies around that time of the year.
Valid. One of my
Mhm.
favorite sayings is "You're a wizard, Harry."
Yeah.
So I get it. I hope they drop that number in there. That'd be really
Yeah.
good. And yeah, I just, sometimes around the house,
Hmm.
I like to be a little bit British, even though it's a terrible accent. I know. It's funny though. Speaking of just British things,
Yeah.
uh, so my daughter Ariel, she's really into Peppa Pig,
Okay.
and instead of saying vacation, she says, "I'm going on holiday." We're just like, oh my gosh!
That's
So
not how we
she's
talk it.
adapting.
Yeah.
Right. She's adopting British vocabulary.
That's
And I
hilarious.
think it's awesome. I think it's
That's awesome.
hilarious.
Yeah.
And I was on my lunch today and she was playing with some toys with my wife.
Yeah.
And they were playing along, and then all of a sudden I hear out of my ear, I'm like, she's like, I'm going on holiday, and I was like, oh my word, that is
Where
hilarious.
that's
Uh, so yeah, no, it's that's my little British tangent there, but I think
that's
it's fun.
funny.
I think that this is a good series. Harry Potter
Hmm.
obviously famously did so phenomenal
Yeah.
books and uh, movie wise, so it makes sense only to make a show at this point.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. It'll be good. So, like I said, it's just getting filming 2027 is when it comes out. So we got some time before we have to talk about it. But yeah, saw the picture of the kiddo. I was like, looks exactly like Daniel Radcliffe. So it makes it a little, it makes it more exciting, waiting till then. But yeah, that's Harry Potter.
Agree.
And then, we'll go to our next segment, which I'll let Tim take it away.
Absolutely. So this is a great, I'm very excited for this one, John. I think it's going to be a good little activity here. And this, it's banter. Whose career do you want? Is
Okay.
what we'll kind of title this, where I'm going to give two like figures in
Hmm.
a certain genre, whether it's NBA, MLB,
Yeah.
NFL, actors, you name it. So we'll start off here. We'll go with NBA. I do have some additional stats that I can go over it with, but these names are pretty well known that you
Hmm.
just probably can make a judgment here.
Yeah.
So starting off with NBA, we'll go Shaquille O'Neal or Kevin Durant.
Oh. Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Durant. Um, so they're both amazing players, both future Hall of Famers, both have changed the game. And am I just looking at NBA career or just overall, like even after the NBA?
No, we'll stick NBA career.
Okay.
If you want, I can give additional stats for you to hear if you'd like to kind of
Uh,
help, anything.
yeah,
Could
I
go
think,
career earnings.
yeah, I think overall, this is hard actually because, like I say, Shaq has the championships, has done it with multiple
Hmm.
teams.
Hmm.
Great history because he did it with the Lakers. Even though I'm not a Laker fan, being part of the Laker team would be amazing. But KD, same,
Hmm.
one of the top players since he got into the league, won multiple championships and NBA Finals MVPs with Golden State, helping Steph win a few more and get over LeBron's career. Um, I look at one thing
Hmm.
I look at, I don't know why, and it's probably because if you look at it behind me, I'm a shoe person. I enjoy KD shoes a lot more than Shaq's. Shaq's Walmart shoes, nothing against him. That dude's a marketing
Oh, you don't
genius,
say.
you know, because that guy's still making millions off of those shoes. But I've always enjoyed
Yeah.
KD shoes. Um,
Hmm.
in the end, I think I'd take Shaq. I'd want to be. I'd take Shaq's career, and it's more the championship, what he did with the teams and the legacy of those teams.
For sure. I'm in agreement. I went Shaq on this one.
Hmm.
And, it came down to who he played with.
Hmm.
Lakers teaming up with Kobe was just
Yeah,
absolutely iconic in my opinion. Love what he did with my Warriors.
yeah,
Thankful for those two chips that he
yeah.
brought or helped bring. But, ultimately Shaq and, just the beast that he
Hmm.
consistently was, uh, it just, yeah, give me Shaq all day in,
Yeah.
in my opinion. And I think a lot of that too is I know both have kind of team hopped,
Hmm.
but I feel like Shaq did it in a way where he found success elsewhere at the same time. I feel like
Hmm.
ever since Katie's left Golden State, he really hasn't found that
Yeah,
success. You can
no,
blame
he
it on
hasn't.
injuries, you can blame it on, whatever, but
Hmm.
it just hasn't been there. But, they're very similar careers. I
Yeah.
mean, each have won one MVP, championships 4-2, career points at the moment. Shaq was 28,596. KD currently has 28,300. So
Hmm.
very similar.
Yeah.
Uh, Career earnings. based on timeline, Shaq probably would have made more if he would have been playing now. But
Hmm.
KD is over 350 million,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to beat that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no,
But
okay. So that was the starter.
mhm.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
What's
I
another
was
point?
gonna say like looking at even after the NBA, it would still be Shaq because like I said, that guy is an entrepreneur having dealerships. I think he
Oh,
owns some. Is it a pizza chain
I think it's Pizza
or
Hut, right?
Pizza Hut? Yeah, I
If I'm
want to
not
say it's all,
mistaken.
he has like a burger chain. Like I say, his shoe deals that he still sells. Like that guy's just making money, easily. So that would be the long term
Yeah.
career.
Don't forget the General. Car insurance.
Yes.
He's there. He's in those
Yeah.
commercials.
Yes.
General's a big one. But yeah, no, he has a ton of franchises. The dude is,
Hmm.
I think has he eclipsed a billion? He's
I
pretty close if
imagine
he
he
hasn't.
probably has. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been very smart with his money.
Yeah.
You know, seems like a really great guy too. It's
Yeah.
funny.
Okay.
Okay. Good start there. Got you
Hmm.
thinking so far here, John. I
Yeah.
love this game. All right, next up. So I only did one for basketball because you're a
Okay.
big movie guy. I wanted to be sure to leave a little bit more for movies. But
Okay.
moving on, we're going to jump into the NFL. I have a couple different comparables here for you.
Okay.
Starting off, Patrick Mahomes or Joe Montana? Toughie.
That's a tough one. Um, Stat wise, what do you got for stats?
Let me pull that up here for you. So we have stats. Who stats? Okay, so we have four Super Bowls for Joe,
Hmm.
and keep in mind 4 for 4.
Hmm.
And Mahomes is currently sitting at three. MVPs, two apiece. Each
Okay.
have two
Hmm.
currently. Passing yards, Joe ended up with 40,551. Mahomes is at 28,424 and counting, obviously.
Hmm.
And those were the biggest things. If you want to, I feel like contract wise, it's not a ton worth
Yeah.
mentioning. But
Hmm.
what I do find surprising is Joe only made 25 million from his playing career. Played way back when though, so that
Yeah,
kind of makes
that
sense.
that
But
that's a lot for back then. I think, like I say, if we
sure.
find a calculator for inflation, it'd probably be pretty similar, what it
Hmm.
was then to now. Um, let's see. Joe Montana, 49ers. He played on,
Iconic
did he?
connection with Jerry.
Jerry, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Super
Hmm.
Bowls, winning co That's I, I I want to pick this, and the big reason is location. I want to pick Joe Montana. I don't know if I'd want to live in
Love
Kansas
it.
City. And I think if I had to choose something,
No,
like I say, as a career, they're both similar. Patrick Mahomes may have more Super Bowls in the long run. He probably may make more money, break a lot of those records, possibly, depending on how years after this goes. Um, But if I just look at it up to now, I would prefer Joe Montana because, like I said, that's in the Bay. I say in the West Coast, and nothing against Kansas City. Not trying to hate on people that love Kansas City or live out there, but that's just not for me.
absolutely. No, I'm I completely agree with you, clearly. And it's pretty telling. I think Joe still lives up here in the Bay. So,
Hmm.
he played for both franchises. He did
Yeah.
finish out his career with the Chiefs. Obviously came back to live here for obvious
Hmm.
reasons.
Yeah.
And, just yeah, and then the big thing is I feel like the GOAT conversation was always who's better, Joe or Tom. And then
Yeah.
obviously Tom kind of pulled away at the end. But you go 4 for 4. It's a solid
Yeah.
like MJ comparison. It's you're undefeated in Super
Hmm.
Bowls, and then you kind of look at a guy like Patty who might be similar to like a guy like LeBron.
Hmm.
After a while he could be known as a compiler.
Yeah.
Going down that
It,
rabbit hole again,
it could
and
be.
but he's already 3-2 in Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of appearances. but he's lost. He's nearing
Hmm.
500 already.
Yeah.
And then, hey, we both kind of feel this way. Chiefs drought might be incoming. You know,
Oh,
that's another factor as well.
I'm gonna call that it's already here, but I saw this right now, a post. Patrick Mahomes in 5 Super Bowls, 7 interceptions. Joe Montana, 0.
Oh,
That
there you
that
go.
that are that wins me over. Not
Yeah,
having no losses in the Super Bowl and no interceptions. That's the way I want to end my career.
absolutely. No, valid. Yeah, that
Hmm.
in and of itself, what you do in those Super Bowls is insane.
Yeah,
7 picks is a lot.
that
So,
is.
yeah, props to Joe. Both went Joe there. All right, final NFL here. Barry Sanders or Emmett Smith? And
That's a tough one. Okay.
you go short term versus longevity as well.
Yeah.
I do have some stats for you if you'd like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Emmett Smith, 3 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, Barry, of course, 0.
Hmm.
MVPs, we have one apiece. Rushing yards in total. Keep in mind, Barry, I believe, only played what, 10 seasons, and
Yeah.
then he called it quits. We have Barry Sanders sitting at 15,269 total yards. Emmett Smith, 18,355.
Hmm. That's a tough one. Like I say, if I'm looking at prestige, both of them, both are Hall of Famers. Both are going to go down in the history books. Emmitt Smith has that Super Bowl. Um, what Barry Sanders did in less seasons than Emmitt Smith, pretty comparable numbers. Rushing yards per
Mhm.
game, receiving yards too. Do I want to be known as a cowboy for life? You know,
That's a tough play right there.
that's like I say, for me, it takes a little bit. Um, I think I'd go Barry Sanders. I think just because what he did in that short amount of time, he is one of the most electric running backs. It's what a lot of these players sort of model themselves after. And anytime, the current running backs that are great, they always get compared to Barry Sanders. You don't hear Emmitt Smith as much. So for me to have my name in the history books, I think Barry Sanders is the way I would go.
That sentence you said right there is the exact reason why I would choose Barry Sanders as well. Because when you're talking GOAT of running backs,
Mhm.
Barry Sanders' name is always mentioned.
Yeah.
Emmett Smith, although yes, record holder of most rushing yards,
No,
the
doesn't really get brought up.
longevity,
Yeah.
he doesn't get brought up. It's
Yeah.
just compiler.
It's that word.
It's
That's gonna
you know
be our word.
yeah, it's our word. It's Emmett Smith, all-time
Yeah.
compiler. And Barry Sanders. Not only the stats, but like if you, we've all seen Barry Sanders
Hmm.
highlights, the juke moves,
Yeah.
the breaking tackles, how he's trapped in the backfield, looks like he has zero place to go.
Yeah.
He makes it out and gets a 60-yard touchdown. And then just, I don't know why, there's almost some type of aura surrounded by
Hmm.
ending your
Yeah.
career
In
good.
Detroit.
You know what
Hmm.
I mean? It's like what could have been. He ended up on top.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just that certain uncertainty that he'll always
Yeah.
be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, and he's like the face of Detroit still, whereas Emmitt Smith, like you say, bro has records, it has a Super Bowl, but there's still a lot of players that always get discussed before him. Troy Aikman,
Yep.
there there's so many other players that get recognized before Emmitt Smith's name comes up. Whereas if you talk about Detroit, it's Barry Sanders. That's the first name that comes up. Even Tony Romo gets
Yeah.
discussed more than Emmitt Smith, and Tony Romo didn't do anything. So it's like,
Agreed.
is that Super Bowl worth it where I'm still playing second fiddle to Tony Romo, Dak Prescott, these type of players, or would I want to be Barry Sanders? Didn't win a Super Bowl, but my name's going to live in the history books. And when it comes down to the best running back of all time, it's going to be my picture. I think I'd choose that.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah, Disbury
Mm.
Sanders owned the league in the running
Yeah.
game during that time. So, yep. All right. So now we're going to move into movies here, John.
Okay.
We got actors.
All
So
right.
where do I want to start? Here's the big thing. I will start with Denzel Washington or Tom Hanks.
Oh, that's a tough one, Tim. That's a tough one.
I told
That,
you
that,
these were going to get you thinking.
they're both
Um,
amazing actors. Like
yeah.
Oscar nominations. I think they're both. I'm trying to think. I don't like I say for sports I could pull up like verses. I don't know if they do that versus for actors. But like I say,
Um,
Denzel Washington has so many iconic movies, whereas Tom Hanks does too. You know, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan, Castaway, Big, where Denzel, Training Day. You know, right now, Gladiator 2, Remember the Titans. They both were in Philadelphia, which is a great movie as well. Um,
Malcolm X for Denzel.
Malcolm X, yeah.
Saving Private Ryan for Tom Hanks.
hmm and they're
Toy
still
Story
doing
for Tom
movies.
Hanks.
Yeah. Like I say, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think because, like I say, it's based off movies I would like to do. They both have so many movies. Like I say, the one movie like for Denzel that I really think about is Man on Fire. Being part of that movie
Hmm.
would be amazing, and his current movies too that he did. What is it? The Equalizer. He's good
Oh,
in those.
so good in those.
Those are such great
Man.
movies that he's done so much, and,
Hmm.
and this is another thing. They both have raised children that are big stars. Colin Hanks, um, Denzel Washington's son. He did what was it? He did the Baller Show with The Rock.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to look at their movies. They're both producers. Tom Hanks produces a lot. Denzel. Yeah, to me, you made this too hard for me. This one's a hard one.
I'm glad that this says, you being a movie guru is getting you thinking a lot. That's why I was so
Yeah,
excited for this.
yeah,
Because I know that these were going to be tough.
yeah. They make the like similar. Like I say, Denzel does a lot more action. Tom Hanks does more drama, but like Denzel did Flight, but Tom Hanks did Sully. So, they both did, movies based off
Yeah.
airplanes, you know.
Hmm.
I think if I looking at their catalog of movies, there's a lot Tom Hanks has done, and Tom Hanks has done a lot more too, other than just movies and actor. He's been a producer.
Hmm.
I'm gonna pick Denzel Washington. I just think that catalog of movies are the movies I would enjoy a lot more to do. The action adventure still does a lot of dramas, a lot of like, non-gangster movies where it really takes a lot of his acting. Like I say, Philadelphia, Pelican Brief. I remember him. Courage Under Fire, another good one. The one I always like to play. He Got Game, not the best basketball movie, but still a basketball
Uh-huh.
movie. I'd want to be playing. But The Bone
Yep.
Collector, one with Angelina Jolie. I remember as a kid always watching that. I like that movie, you
Okay.
know. And then Training Day. That's just a killer of a movie to be a part of, you know.
Such a great film.
So
Yeah.
I
And
think that's what I would pick. Denzel Washington.
yeah, I like how you broke it down there, John. It's a good way of thinking there. I ended up going with Tom Hanks
hmm
personally for this one. I love Forrest Gump, Castaway, Saving
hmm
Private Ryan. Like right off the bat, those films all together
Yeah.
really enjoy it, but Denzel Washington, Training Day, one of my favorite movies of all time. There's so many
Hmm.
iconic lines by him in there, and he just plays that role so freaking well with
Yeah.
Denzel Washington. He can just be such an ultra scary, serious individual in a
Hmm.
movie, and it's phenomenal the way he acts.
Yeah.
So it's so close, but I that's why I love this comparison. But Tom Hanks, I feel like when it comes to just even the animation portion of Toy Story,
Hmm.
that was a big deciding factor in my head just because,
Yeah.
now having kiddos and
Yeah.
watching them enjoy movies like that, it does play a factor as a parent,
Yeah.
because it's movies that, we enjoyed growing up with.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
movies
know,
you could show your kids because yeah, I don't think I'd show my kid. Oh, I was in Training Day. Watch that movie. Like,
yeah.
no, you don't want to show that movie to your kid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you'd probably start with his football movie or something like that
Yeah.
instead.
Remember the Titans,
So
stuff like
that
that.
Remember the Titans. Yeah, I don't know why it slipped my
Yeah.
mind. Remember the Titans, great film. It'd be one to start with, but yeah, no, it's a good comparison. So
Hmm.
that's just the first one, John. So here we
Okay.
go. Um, next one we got Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt.
That's another hard one, man. Dang.
Yep. Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously Titanic, Inception,
Yeah.
The Revenant, goes on like crazy. Brad
Yeah.
Pitt, Fight Club, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah, and they're both in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Like I said,
Oh yeah, duh. Yep.
Brad Pitt.
Leonardo.
Um, yeah.
I love that meme. I love that
Yeah.
meme.
It's a good one. If you haven't seen the movie, watch it. It's a great Quentin Tarantino movie. He does
Oh
great,
yeah.
and so does Brad Pitt. I think he got an Oscar for supporting actor. He's won two Oscars, like I say, and I
Hmm.
want to say one of them was for that. Yeah, supporting actor for that. Um,
Even
like I
if you just
say,
want to go by looks, Strong, that's a tough battle.
that's a tough battle. Both of them are ladies, man. Brad Pitt was with
Yep.
Angelina Jolie. A lot of stuff happened that they're not together anymore, but still, it's Angelina Jolie. You know, I don't know. Vera
Right.
might get mad at me saying it, but it's like it's Angelina Jolie. You can't. Yeah,
Right.
sorry. Leonardo
Tomb
DiCaprio is
Raider.
just a ladies' man. Yeah, you know.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Don't count that one out. That was a great
No,
movie
that
too.
was a great movie. Like I say, Inception, Shutter Island. Those
Oh
movies,
yeah.
Django, Gatsby, Wolf of Wall Street, like that like little timeline of movies for from Leo from like 20, even Blood Diamond, Departed. Like I say, you go
Oh,
catch me.
such a good movie. Yeah.
Like I say, I just keep on going down this list and I'm like, man, it's hard. And then you look at Brad Pitt, his movies are the same. Like I say, for me, F1 the movie, I love F1, so I liked him in that.
Hmm.
He's done a few ones. Bullet Train. I've enjoyed Bullet Train. I don't know if you've seen it. That's a good one.
I have not seen that one. I've heard though.
Yeah. And what I like about Brad Pitt a little bit more, I will say, than Leo is his like little cameos that he does in random movies, like Deadpool 2. I don't know if you remember, he was the Invisible Man. When he gets
Hmm.
electrocuted, it just shows him for a bit. You know,
Fury's
he
another good movie too.
Fury, Big Short, 12 Years a Slave, World War Z. Love that movie.
World War Z, Inglourious
Moneyball,
Bastards.
yeah, Inglourious Bastard, Moneyball, Tree of Life. He did kid movies, Megamind. Oh,
He did Megamind?
yeah, it shows it here. Metro
Oh.
Man.
Oh.
So I'm gonna pick Brad Pitt, and the big reason, Ocean's movie, the Ocean's trilogy. Biggest fan of
Oh,
the that one,
how could we
and I think,
forget? Duh.
I think that's sort of what's gonna push me towards Brad Pitt. I like a lot of his younger day movies too. I think he was in Freddy Krueger for a bit when he was like getting up and running into the to TV. Interview with a
Hmm.
Vampire. Like I say, Seven. If you haven't seen Seven, amazing horror, crazy twist at the end. His little scene. What's in the box? It's amazing. Uh, Fight Club. Yeah, it's
Yep.
Brad Pitt. Nothing against Leo. Like I say, Leo worked with doing Inception, so working with Christopher Nolan's like ideal, but I think Brad Pitt eventually might work with him as well. Um, but yeah, and then like I say, World War Z, love that movie, so it would be Brad Pitt, and
Hmm.
I think Ocean sort of pushes me over to him.
Yeah. No, that's those ocean movies are some of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
Ocean's 12 I wasn't as big of a fan of, but 11 and 13 were
Hmm. There we go.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
That series is so good. I
Yeah.
rewatch those all the time. I used to binge them like crazy.
Yeah.
Um, this was really tough for me too. I did end up going with Leo. I think just him starting with, becoming really pronounced with Titanic. That's my wife's, that's Shen's probably arguably her favorite movie of all time. So, you have Leo, you steal my wife's heart, it's
Yeah,
got to go with it.
you just
You
want to draw
know,
you just
it's
want to draw those French girls, haunt him. That's all you want to do.
yeah, it's a great scene. Yeah, it's a great scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, where'd all that steam come from?
Yeah, it's
The
still the
windows
biggest
get
question.
tinted. But he just got so immersed in roles though.
Hmm.
Like my TikTok feed is filled with Wolf of Wall Street shit.
Yeah.
It comes through, just even from his sales pitching, the
Hmm.
accent he had. It was such good acting in that
Yeah.
film. We talked about Shutter Island last week, and what an idiot I am for leaving the movie too early. Made a good clip out of it. Check that
Uh,
out. That was fun to make. Perfect timing for Drake's "What Did I Miss?"
mhm.
That was fun. But just so many great roles. Great Gatsby, another
Yeah,
phenomenal film.
that's a good one too.
Great Gatsby was a book requirement from high school.
Yeah.
So going to watch the film after reading the book, it was, perfectly
Mhm.
made out. I really like that film. Um, yeah, I just think a lot of his movies kind of hit me, uh, in ways that, was just like I don't know. He just got so immersed. So I
Yeah.
appreciated that with Leo, and that's why I kind of leaned towards him. But
Hmm.
everything Brad Pitt has done, like his movies are absolutely
Yeah.
incredible. Mr. and Mrs. Smith was great. I always loved watching that one. Kind of a quirky action film
Yeah.
there. But you bring up a great point with the ocean films. He played that so good. Just this laid back schemester who teams up well with everybody. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, great careers. Glad that
Yeah.
went that in depth. Any other points with that one, John, before we move on to the next one?
No, not much. His one movie that's coming out soon. I don't know if you've seen it, One Battle After Another. That one's going to be a good one from Leo.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer,
Okay.
it looks pretty funny. Like I say, he brings a little bit of everything into it. I think he's getting a little bit more diverse. That's why, like I say, it was hard, but I think I'd still go Brad Pitt.
Yeah. No, it's a
Uh,
great battle. There's no wrong choice with those two. It's
yeah.
crazy their careers they've had. Um, okay, and then we'll make this the final one. I know that, these have gone great debate. Um, Robert Downey Jr. or Johnny Depp?
That one's also hard. Like I say,
Yeah.
they both of the actors have gone through a lot. Like I say, Robert Downey Jr. was a big star younger days, but then um
Hmm.
got into drugs, got into a lot of trouble, went to jail, didn't really have much of a career, and then came back with Marvel, and that's where I'm sort of like, man, is that sort of gonna push me over to that side? Being part
Yep.
of the Marvel franchise, and even, after they kill you off in Marvel, they still find a way to bring you back. But
Yep.
Johnny Depp too, I think if Johnny Depp didn't go through a lot of the stuff he went recently, his movies after 2018 would have been amazing. Because I think he was just sort of put on a list to not like really work with him as much. Because he was in that
Yep.
Fantastic Beast, that like spin-off from the Harry Potter world, which he did well in the first ones, and then he was sort of or the first two, and he was replacing the last one because of his lawsuit that he was going through. Um,
Right.
I'm looking movie wise. Like I say, he did 21 Jump Street. Pirates, like I say, the Pirates series, those are amazing. I enjoyed all of
Yep.
them.
He was so good
Rango,
as Captain
Rango.
Jack.
I loved Rango.
Yep.
That's one that always
Uh-huh.
got me good.
Sweeney Todd, Edward Scissorhands.
Yeah, Sleepy Hollow, Astronaut's Wife, Ninth Gate. But then, like I say, Robert Downey Jr. started
Mm.
off strong, had a little hiccup because of some of his choices that he made in life, and then came back. I think it was Iron Man 2008, because before that, didn't do too much after his little incident. He was part of
Hmm.
a TV show. Tropic Thunder. Watched that today during my lunch a bit. Amazing
Can't do that
movie.
role again.
Can't do that role again, but knowing you did it. Sherlock
It's so good.
Holmes,
Sherlock
Chef,
Holmes. Yep. Due Date. Can't
Due
forget
Date.
that film. That was fun.
Yeah. And then recently Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go Robert Downey Jr. I just think the
Hmm.
movie the movie list he has, his resume, the movies are just more movies I enjoy. Johnny Depp has a lot of great movies, but some of them are a little bit more serious for me. Like I say, Edward Scissorhand would be a cool one. He was on Nightmare on
Hmm.
Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. But then after that, it's a lot more of
Hmm.
these movies I wasn't the biggest fan of, you know? Like I say, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas,
Sure.
that'd be an awesome movie to be a part of. And then the Pirate series, Blow. But then, like I say, Charlie and the Chocolate
Hmm.
Factory, I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to be part of that one. You know, I wasn't the biggest
Yeah.
fan of it. Um,
Sure.
yeah, it would be Robert Downey Jr. for me. Nothing against Johnny Depp. Both of them went through some hardships, came back. Robert Downey Jr. has taken advantage of it. Hopefully, Johnny Depp can, but I would go RDJ.
Yeah, we're hoping for a second win from Johnny Depp, of course. But yeah,
Hmm.
I went RDJ as well, and it came down to just Iron Man over Pirates of the Caribbean for me.
Yeah.
That was the biggest one. But both of their film careers are insane. Can I
Hmm.
throw one more at you, John? This is just
Yeah.
such a good exercise. Okay. I'm 99.9% sure of who you're going to choose for this one, but these two names are just too good to pass up, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Will Smith or Keanu Reeves?
Um,
Mhm.
that's a hard one. Like I say,
Okay.
we
Okay.
named
Yeah.
our son Keanu because of Keanu Reeves. We're big Keanu Reeves fans. Um,
Hmm.
but Will Smith, like, if you forget about
Such a good
his little
career.
good career, like I say, if you don't think about what he did at the Oscars to Chris Rock, great career, great movies he's done, and he did it a long time ago, you know. Wild Wild West,
Hmm.
Ali, Enemy of the State, doing his TV show, Men in Black. I say these movies, Bad Boys. Um,
Oh yeah.
you know, and then it slowed down a little bit for him. He did good ones here and there, Focus, Concussion,
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Like I say, came
Great
back to
film.
Bad Boys. But Keanu Reeves, same thing for Keanu Reeves. He's always been consistent, you know, acting. Um, he he has John Wick. Like I say, John Wick franchise right now is amazing. You know, he has where is it? Parenthood, I remember that one. Point Break, classic.
Hmm.
Speed, Speed's like somewhat one of me. I'm a big
Yeah.
Speed fan. Chain Reaction, movie nobody liked. I enjoy watching it. Devil's Advocate, Matrix. Shit.
Oh yeah. Can we not
Constantine.
downplay Always Be My Maybe? His role in that film
Oh yeah.
was so funny. Oh my
Yeah.
God, just just the way he ate the dinner.
Hmm.
I I reference that movie so much with his
Uh,
role. He was so good in that.
yeah. Yeah, I think it was after like first John Wick. He went through like some movies that weren't the biggest hits, came back to John Wick, started doing
Yep.
more. He's doing more
Hardball was
indie
so good.
hardball. He was in Toy Story 4, Duke Kaboom.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
he did he voiced a video game, Cyberpunk. So that's pretty cool.
Too bad that was a flop. But yeah, get him on a better game, GTA.
Well, have you heard Cyberpunk after the release, they made a lot of changes and it's a lot better, they said.
Oh, and they fix it
Um,
up?
that's what I've been hearing.
Oh,
So I'm
good.
curious of just trying it if I could find a way to get it for free. Um,
There you
I'll
go.
give it a shot. But man, being part of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would be awesome.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite shows growing up.
I Am Legend, Hancock.
I Am Legend.
I'm gonna have to pick Keanu Reeves, and I think what sort of pushes me over is John Wick, The Matrix, and honestly another movie I enjoy a lot, The Replacements. I just think that's an
Oh,
awesome
yeah.
movie. I think
Falco.
yeah, and like I say, Point Break. He did a lot of movies when he was younger. Speed. I'd pick Keanu Reeves over Will Smith. And I think it's because of what Keanu's doing right now in movies compared to Will Smith, where he hasn't been after his what was it, Richard movie? Is that what it was
Hmm.
called? King Richard.
I
After
think so.
that, hasn't really been much. Bad Boys, you knew it was going to be a hit just because it was a Bad Boy series, but there hasn't been anything else after that from him. Where
Right.
Keanu Reeves, like every other year, he makes a banger and then makes a few indies. So I would take Keanu Reeves. And I'm not in the media for my slap at the Oscars.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, watch out. Yeah, no, and Hitch was another good film
Hitch, yeah.
with Will Smith. I like that film. Um, this was really tough for me too. I'd hate to include it, but the slap just kind of threw me off with that guy. I
Hmm.
just that was a bummer.
Yeah.
But Fresh Prince, absolutely loved that TV show.
Hmm.
He said Wild Wild West. I love that.
Yeah, that's a
I love
good
that
one.
film, especially because of like the main song that went along with it. I used to jam to that.
Yeah.
So wow, wow. And it just, like he could play it today and I'd probably still find a way to jam out to that song.
Hmm.
But, that was good. Men in Black, I
Yeah,
love.
that was always
I
good.
love those movies. Sugar Water, always creep me out,
Hmm.
just that whole thing. Um, yeah, but I think just like you said, Keanu's consistency and then his involvement in sports movies with The Replacements
Hmm.
and
Hardball.
Hardball. Hardball, I loved because that was one of the first sports movies I watched that
Hmm.
included a lot of drama in it. And I
Yeah.
just think like the unexpected passing of one of the kiddos on the team was
Hmm.
horrible. And then just, them overcoming that and then kind of just getting a better understanding of
Hmm.
the background to the team and everything. I
Yeah.
just he played that role so stinking well. And he can be rangy, obviously, too. He does comedy as can Will Smith, but I don't know. I just Keanu Reeves, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
I said, always be my maybe. The comedy he had in that it puts me over the ledge.
It's
It's
hilarious.
just it is hilarious.
Yeah.
So Matrix, you can't deny either.
Yeah. And like I say, we're big
Bummer.
AI guys, and the Matrix is full AI, so it
Yeah,
matches our
badass.
personalities. So yeah, that's what I would pick. Keanu Reeves.
But yeah, no, that's what I had rounded out for you. I'd love to
Nice.
do this activity again because there's a zillion people we can always compare.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for this time of year. And yeah, I'm glad it got you debating there,
Yeah.
especially with the actors, because you're a movie connoisseur,
Yeah.
so to get you thinking like that was good.
Yeah, no, that was a good one. That was a good one. Let us know. Let us know if you guys feel we made some wrong choices. What would you choose?
Yeah,
Because yeah, there's a lot of factors to it, so it was a good activity, good mind thinking activity with these movies.
definitely. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just kind of makes you think back, reminisce on some things, especially when it comes to the athletes too.
Hmm.
Kind of think of eras. Yeah, I know it's tough to compare eras, but even comparing eras with movies,
Yeah.
anything can be relevant these days. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I'll get you into some music and stuff. We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll each come with some, but good
Yeah,
activity
for
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 sure.
sure. No, yeah, for sure. But that's our show today. Thank you to everybody that joined us, on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those joining us on TikTok Live. We appreciate you guys hanging out, coming in, saying what's up, just joining us for a bit. We're building something here. It's building quickly. We're doing a lot of things, so be on the lookout for more skits, activities, questions we send out to you guys. It's all real talk, good laughs, unfiltered takes, and sometimes some major hot takes that you guys don't like. But join us by subscribing, hitting that follow button on all our platforms. We would appreciate it. We thank you guys, to those day oneers, that started with us early. We appreciate you guys still joining us day in, day out.
Absolutely. Yeah, the continued viewers, listeners, we appreciate all the support you guys constantly give us. And, like John said, we're two dads trying to make the dream happen.
Hmm.
That skit might seem like a skit and
Hmm.
exaggerated, but I feel like that's super
Oh
realistic
yeah.
and stuff we talk about every single day.
Yeah.
So, that was a ton of fun to make. Be on the lookout, like John said, of a lot more of that going
Hmm.
forward because that was fun to make and put
Yeah.
together. And we got some range here, guys. We got some
Yeah,
range. We can
no,
make
we,
it
we
happen.
we we got some range, and still, please answer that question I did have for Tim that we didn't bring up today. Why is Joey Chestnut, a top tier athlete eating 70 hot dogs and I eat one, and I think we all us dads eat one at a barbecue, and everybody just looks at us and laughs at us. Like, what's up with that?
Valid. Yeah. Don't shame the glizzies.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
shame them.
it's we could
They're
be
they're
training
delicious,
for
especially during this time of the
food
year.
content. Of course, yeah, barbecues, you name it.
Yeah, yeah, you name it.
Had one just the other day. It was great
Yeah.
from Costco. They didn't get rid of them. They didn't up the
Good,
prices either. So
good. Good
love
job,
it.
Costco.
Checking
Good
in on
job,
that
Costco.
previous hot take. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, thank you everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys throughout the days.
Peace.
See
Thank
you.
you.